And aloha, mother fathers. Welcome in another episode of the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast. Of course, all across the video and audio verse and the World Wide Web. You can find us all over the place. Side Hustle Pod 216 and Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast with Double A and Kyle. I am Kyle. That's Double A. What's going on, man? This is the first post-WrestleMania 41 broadcast, and we got
a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to break down. First, the positives, get out of the way. I want to thank Pete for hooking everything up on Saturday. Our event Saturday was unbelievable.
It was awesome, Double A, and I give Pete a lot of credit. He found a way, despite the tight spaces in this office, in this studio, to get around with that walker with the tennis balls on it. And we cannot thank him enough for all the work he put in. And listen, 14 Advil and a couple Alka-Seltzer later, and he made it through. So we appreciate that. He's got the packets on his desk right now. Love our Grandpa Pete to death. Happy he was here to help us out. And obviously, thanks to the guys that came through.
Yeah.
And the girl.
Mm-hmm.
We had a woman on the show. I know Double A is very much against the female gender in general, but nevertheless, we're happy we were able to.
Thank you for coming, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Thank
there
you.
was a little bit of estrogen on the stage. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Still waiting for the all-female panel. I want that to happen at some point just so we can all shit on Double A because he's an anti-feminist. But, I mean, it's totally fine.
All the females that have come on this show have
all
slammed on me.
They've all hated
I don't know why.
Oh my God.
I think I bring a ton to the table. I don't know why.
Well, that's where you're wrong.
My fiance has slammed me.
The point is
the women's champion has slammed me.
Yeah.
Amanda, who's been on the show, she slammed me. Like, it just doesn't stop.
Well, your first problem is you said you think you bring a lot to the table. You just bring yourself, sit down, and let the women take over the show, which needs to happen because they already run the world. So why not this program too?
You see that? Okay, I'm gonna shut up now.
That's smart.
That's the first thing.
That's
first thing about being with a woman, ladies and gentlemen. Well, gentlemen, first thing about being with a woman, shut up.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Yes. Matter of fact, you're like, why? What do you mean? Shut up. She's right. Shut up.
You don't need to say she's right. You just need to shut the fuck up.
Just shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you came up with that idea? No, you didn't. Follow us on social media.
We're getting real personal into Double A's psyche here.
For our
for all of our video watchers, here's our audio places you could find us. Yeah.
Hey, listen, people go to work and stuff, in the morning,
Well, no, for everyone watching, here's the slide with all the video stuff, and then for everyone listening, tough shit.
We have slides. All right. And we want to thank our sponsors, of course, too, BA Sweeties, Mike from State Farm, Mike Fabert from State Farm, Meg Gallagher from Omega Video Marketing. Got a lot to get to. In fact, there's a reason why things are going to be a little bit pushed back because we're excited just to talk about WrestleMania.
Well, we were excited. Not really, but we were... We were happy. We're always happy to be here.
Yeah, right.
But sometimes the content doesn't always match the expectations.
First off, we want to thank everyone who follows us on social media.
Doing that again.
Seen a lot of great responses to our reaction to the Saturday main event, which is still unbelievable. And we will talk about the Saturday main event, plus all the other things we love from WrestleMania coming up later in the show, and things we didn't like from WrestleMania. We'll talk about all of that coming up during the show. But the story of WrestleMania 41 weekend involves the guy who decided not to show up to WrestleMania weekend, decided not to show up to any of the build to WrestleMania, supposedly in order to drive up effing ticket sales for the B-level show Elimination Chamber. He put himself in a story and then said, this story's not about me. Not about me. It's about the two other guys, Cody and John Cena. Not about me, though. Selling my soul, sell the soul to The Rock, but let's have the other guys be in the spotlight, and that's that. That's who we're going to talk about today. That's the story. The story is not about the other 13 matches on the card on WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday. It's about the guy who didn't bother to show up for WrestleMania weekend, but had a few minutes because people got on his ass, just like his failed movie from last year, to get on Pat McAfee and explain why his lack of appearance was an absolute crap show.
What was the failed movie from last year?
Black Adam.
Oh, well, then he put Moana 2 out, and that sold like hotcakes. So, I mean,
So
you say tomato, I say here's $1 billion.
well, show up. Show up. So we're gonna play some clips for you. We'll react because I'm as you can see, I'm not happy. I should have brought my sunglasses.
I have. Do you want to borrow them?
I give it to me.
Okay, yeah, you probably should. Just be careful there. A potential future sponsor, so just
No, we'll be.
yeah. I don't want you throwing shit.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
Oh, you look good.
Dun,
Hey.
dun, dun.
You a cop? You a cop, man?
Man, listen.
You a cop?
Let's get to it.
You got
This
a mic. I
is-
see. You got a mic on you. I see it.
Stop making me laugh. I'm mad. We're talking about a serious television show. Stop it.
Oh yeah, right.
Okay. All right. I'm serious now. This is The Rock. He was on Pat McAfee. Follow along. Here's a longer clip, but we'll break it down here. So here's the start of it. This is him explaining on Pat McAfee why he was inserted into Elimination Chamber.
I got a call about a month before Elimination Chamber. I get a call from Ari Emanuel, who we know owns TKO. TKO owns WWE. He's been my longtime business partner and one of my best friends for over 20 years. He said, we need help at Elimination Chamber. Ticket sales are a little slow, but beyond that, he goes, what we are finding is with Elimination Chamber, it's become the pay-per-view that's been interesting. Fans have had fun, but it's also the conduit to WrestleMania. And how do we create a Elimination Chamber that people must tune in to see?
Pause. Thank you, Pete. Number one, the fact you can take these back.
Damn.
Because I don't trust myself in what I'm gonna do to those, so take them back.
Okay. Well, this is your gig.
No, listen.
You're fucking this dog. I'm just holding his head. Go ahead.
No, he is. That guy is. Courtesy of Pat McAfee at ESPN. That guy is. The Rock. First of all, let's just go out there and just say, oh, yeah, ticket sales are down. So Ari called me to try to drive the ticket sales up. Now, listen, behind the scenes, I understand conversations like this happen all the time. I'm not excusing that could have been the reason. But the fact that publicly, on ESPN, you're going out, and WWE has put out and said, like, hey, our product's been hot, our product's been hot, our product has been hot. The Rock shows up on ESPN and just says, oh, ticket sales are low, they're doing a crap job, we need something to drive up. We're on the same show. You had John Cena advertised. On the same show, Trish Stratus is advertised for the show. Local in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
On the exact same show, you are driving up ticket prices to price out regular people, by the way, and you promote that, hey, you have the highest gate every month. Highest gate, highest record attendance, highest record number of tickets sold. Taking people's money away, and then your punk ass comes in and says, hey, sales are down, they need help.
Just really quick, I'm gonna let you keep going. So he did preface this when he started the whole thing because I watched the full interview. This is director of the board, Dwayne, talking, not final boss. So it wasn't a I came to save the day. It was he's thinking of this as an overall business thing. It's not a he went into certain modes of final boss during the interview. This part was strictly I'm like the head of TKO. I'm on the board. I'm looking at the overall thing. Where I just want to point that out. He wasn't talking in character here. He was talking step back, not final boss Dwayne, actual boss Dwayne. What do we need? That kind of stuff. So I just want to preface that before Double A continues to rip this man apart. You're not saying anything wrong. I just wanted to preface that before people,
Do you
dive
have any
fully in.
thoughts on this first part before we move on?
No, I think it'd be stupid not to call him. He could have said no, and I'm sure what probably happened, which he explains here in a moment, is they'll kick some ideas around what could work, and they had an initial idea, and Triple H is the one who pivoted off that initial idea. So, I mean, we're really mad at The Rock, but if you really listen to what he said, and the man Paul hasn't denied it. I mean,
I
he had a plan. He had an idea. And Triple H said, well, what about this?
I have a ton of reasons why I'm upset with The Rock about the idea. But before we say our reasons,
Sure.
let's continue to play the clip.
How do we create that? And he goes, right now, we don't have that. And he said, will the final boss show up? I said, well, let me give it some thought and let me get back to you. So I gave it some thought. I got back to Ari. I got back to Triple H and Nick. We had a call. And I said, I have an idea. What's most important to the final boss? The most important thing to the final boss isn't titles. It's not money. It's not fame. Been there, done that, and grateful for that. Final boss wants your soul. And what does that mean? What that means, that doesn't mean, hey, the final boss wants you to act like this, be like this at his beck and call and treat you like crap and make you do all these things that are unbecoming or embarrassing. That's not what the final boss wants. That's not how the final boss flies. No. What that means is whatever you could think of in your head. So Cody Rhodes, whatever dreams you have, whatever ambitions you have, even if they're dark, even if they're amazing and they're full of light, even if they're scary, whatever those are, you tell the final boss he's going to make it all happen. You wave that magic wand, he'll make it all happen. So when it comes to giving me your soul, giving the final boss your soul, that is what you want, not what the final boss wants. And so what does the final boss get out of that? I get your soul for life.
All right, pause right there. Now that proposal, that's a great story, and that continues on with the final boss character over the last year or so.
And it plays on Cody's morality. That's been the whole point. Even now, without Dwayne being present with John, you have to make a choice. I think the greater story in all this, unfortunately, which maybe we didn't hope it was going to go this way, but it kind of feels like it is Cody's a white meat babyface. Cody is too good. And in the moment when a guy who kicked him in the dick, he had a title in his hand and he could have returned the favor and it would have been justified. Everyone would have cheered him. He still, in his own head, couldn't get over the fact that he couldn't win that way. He couldn't do that to John because he's too good. He's too pure. I mean, they're setting up, and this is the problem with The Rock too. Unfortunately, it's a very, very long game story, and they don't have a bloodline to fall back on now. So these are the initial stages of Cody's eventual heel turn, which is it's going to be painful. It's going to be like, what the fuck are we doing with this? And you guys have heard me say it multiple times in the show, like, what's the direction? What are we doing now? Because the bloodline shit's over. There's two people that are left in the bloodline, so to speak, and it's Solo and Jacob, and they're about to fucking turn on each other probably on tomorrow night on SmackDown. So I mean, like, Jay's doing his own thing. He's not a part of that anymore. Jimmy's doing his own thing. He's not a part of that anymore. Sammy's doing his own thing. We'll talk about him a little bit later too. Like, there is no bloodline left. This is the new story that they have to try and chase. And it's going to be weird. It's going to be awkward. And if he can't commit time because he's going to be other places,
he's not going to.
Exactly. He's got other commitments. He's got the Smashing Machine coming out in early August. He's got the fucking other movies doing about Hawaii, which is going to be really good, but also like, all right.
So my point is this: he laid out this elaborate story.
Yeah.
This follow up, right? This elaborate story about what's next. If you know in advance, and The Rock knows the schedule, we talk about this all the time. If he knows that he can't commit to any of this, why lay out this sales pitch in the first place? Involving your character. Now, The Rock. Now, if Ari could have reached out to The Rock and say, "Hey, do you have any ideas on how we can enhance WrestleMania? Fine, you can show up to Toronto. What can we do for one night going forward?" But you laid it out right there. He's the central part of the story. The final boss character, ever since the beginning of 2024, has been the number one heel in WWE. Not John Cena, not Roman Reigns, not any of these other guys. The Rock has been the number one heel.
That's fair.
So to lay this story out, and we'll play the rest of the clip here in a second, and then to remove yourself because you have other commitments that you knew about. It's not like he didn't know, I have this movie, I have this coming up, tomorrow, and I can't make it. He knew he wasn't going to make WrestleMania. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to make a ton of dates in 2025. He knew this, just like John Cena. John Cena knows his movie schedule. John Cena knew that he couldn't make a lot of the American dates leading up to WrestleMania, but I can make the European dates. These are things that they know. And to incorporate yourself as a central figure into a story where you're not present, I have no problem with the story. I have a problem with the fact that he can't execute the story.
So we purposely, on Sunday, because we were so mad, we didn't watch the post show. I watched it later, and I heard what Triple H said at the end of it, and it made me come to a realization about WrestleMania now moving forward. We tie WrestleMania to end of a season, end of the major stories, right? The culmination, so to speak, of everything. I think what he basically said was, we're not going to blow our load in one night or 2 nights. We're going to try and space things out. I think WrestleMania became, unfortunately, because there wasn't really that story going in this year, a table setter for the rest of the year. Look at Seth in that situation. We'll talk about that in a minute too, obviously. And all of that was more of a stopgap to a larger, bigger thing that we're going to see culminate maybe in a year, maybe 2. I don't know. We kind of talked about this going in. There wasn't really that story. I mean, the biggest thing you could argue maybe was John turning heel, but that wasn't really, there wasn't a lot there. There wasn't a lot of time. It's kind of like, what are we doing with this? I think they viewed this WrestleMania, unfortunately, and this is me just guessing at this point, but I think they viewed it more as a stopgap in between something bigger, as opposed to this is where all the players need to be here. This needs to be a come to a head, full-on moment where we get all these answers and we get all this. I don't think they viewed this event this time around as that, because the timing just didn't work.
I somewhat disagree with that. Somewhat.
There's some stories will come to a head, but other ones, I don't know.
I understand. I clearly understand. You got to give fans something to look forward to after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like, it's not end of the season Super Bowl.
Well, last year it was. Last year, remember, it was like, holy shit, this is Cody finished his story. Everything came to a head, and then afterwards we were kind of like, okay, what's next? And they kind of danced around a lot for a while, to the point where we were during the year, we're like, what's the next thing? Who's Cody's next major opponent? Who's what's going on with Gunther? Who's the world champ? This is the Priest shit. It didn't feel like there was a lot going on. Even in the women's division too, it kind of felt like, what the fuck are we doing? I don't know, man.
I understand the spacing out thing. My thing is this. To me, in my eyes, the Saturday main event, and I'm not saying that Triple H does not deserve any blame of what went down on Sunday. Let's be clear about what happened Sunday in the main event, which we'll play a clip of in a little bit. Let's be clear. Sunday night's main event between Cody Rhodes and John Cena was one of the worst main events in WrestleMania history. And Opus can cut that. One of the worst main events in the history of WrestleMania happened this past Sunday. Ironically, one of the best happened on Saturday. To me, it felt like, for better or worse, Triple H and his writing team booked all of Saturday and most of Sunday. It felt like to me that the main event Sunday night between Cody and John Cena, while they were partners, it seemed like the direction was taken out of Triple H's hands. It seemed like, to me, that story, you had two very conflicting stories. And it felt that way throughout the entire build. Because the story, from what I see, that Triple H is trying to tell is that John Cena is blaming the fans for, the abusive relationship. That's the story right now with John Cena. Abusive relationship with the fans, and he's tired of it. And this is his last year, and finally he's going to take control of his career. That's not a bad story. It's actually a really good story. That's why the angle on Monday with Randy Orton really worked. And that's why that story going forward is really good. And there's intrigue about what he's going to do with the championship. The story that The Rock is trying to tell is finding either Cody selling his soul to The Rock. Cody says no, but Cena did. And we have that iconic image of John Cena and The Rock standing next to each other, and it is never explained on television why The Rock was the one to get John Cena to unlock things.
We should let him finish.
All right, let's go ahead and finish the clip
We
here.
can both talk.
The final boss gets out of that. No, so now we go into Elimination Chamber with this idea of, will Cody Rhodes sell his soul to the final boss? And my thought at that time, and you and I might have even I know we talked about this, was it was a litmus test to find out, in my opinion, how will fans respond if Cody sold his soul to the final boss?
Stop right
Let's
there.
get it.
Why? First of all, now I have a problem with the story he's presenting. Why are we getting that test? Cody Rhodes is on his very first babyface run as world champion. Why? What's the point?
What else was he going to... I mean, so there was nothing going on with Cody. We talked about it. He didn't have a story. So, I mean, we may not like the direction it went, but I don't blame him for taking a shot. I'm not saying it was the right shot.
It's not the right shot. That's the problem.
What was the better? I mean, I guess Cena just turning. Like I said, I would have waited until WrestleMania to turn him heel. They could have went back and forth. But
that's the better story right there, right then and there. And maybe Triple H was trying to tell that story.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for the booking and for what they've done over the past however many years Triple H has been in power, a year or 2 years, whatever it was, I'm giving them grace. Just because he's booked better than not.
I'm giving Triple H grace. I'm not giving this guy, The Rock, who just barely shows up. Like, he shows up and, let's change everything. Let's throw everything out and just do things the way that I want it to be done and center things around me, but then not freaking show up when it matters.
We didn't do that.
Where was he at WrestleMania? At home.
No, you didn't just call them and say, let's change everything. They called him a month before Elimination Chamber. You just explained the process. People, this is the Dave Meltzer thing, and you're falling for it, the clickbait shit, where it's like, he called in and he put his muscle around. They asked him for ideas. He thought of something. He had a group call with Triple H and Ari and everyone else from TKO. They talked about everything. This is where they came to as a group. It's collaborative. The one thing about all these fuckers is they all talk to each other. At least there's communication. At least there's actual people that know and have been through the wrestling business and gone through it. They'll miss. They're going to fucking miss on some shit. Unfortunately, this happens to be a story with the world champion, so it's a bit more in the fucking focus. This wasn't Otis on the pre-show.
Then fine. I'll give you that. Then TKO needs to leave things alone. Things are fine. Leave it alone. Things are fine. If sales are slow, then find another way, because it's a miss. Let's finish the clip. Go ahead. Sorry, Pete.
The temperature check on this. Let's establish it. Let's anchor it in. And you come to find out that there were a lot of fans who were saying, sell your soul.
Yeah.
This shit is going to be crazy. Whatever it is, it's compelling. It's going to be great. Let's do it. Sell your soul. So I was an advocate of that, not turning Cody heel soon. But eventually, down the line, I like the idea of that because Cody's a smart guy. He's an intelligent guy. He's a ring general. And I think this idea of you give him a reason to turn way down the road, by the way. You give him a reason to turn, not based on titles, not based on this, but it's his soul and what that means that affects generations. It's transcendent beyond pro wrestling, and fans were loving it. I got a call.
All right, so that was, again, we'll give credit, Pat McAfee's show, the ESPN, and everything else that Pat McAfee does.
I'm getting choked out like Gunther.
I know, craziness. I love that angle,
listen, man. I mean, I told you. I think it's the story they want to tell is conflicted Cody Rhodes, and the people are booing him when he didn't hit him with the title. I think people will cheer a heel Cody Rhodes because they want it. I mean, this happened in AEW, and they half-ass pulled the trigger and didn't tell a proper story, and it got terrible, and he decided to be good again, and then he had to leave because it was bad. And then obviously they had creative differences and all that shit too. I mean, with this, there was no story for Cody Rhodes. We obviously, hindsight's 2020. We could go back now and say, hey, at least they actually try to tell stories, whether he can make it or not, whatever. The goal was to set the stage and then obviously to walk away, I guess. That was his thought. with the intent, I'm assuming, because he does bring it up later at some point, like, we're going to revisit all this. But, like, for now, Cody got to go away a little bit, too, because Cody's been there since he came back from that injury. It's been like 2.5, 3 years straight of just, I'm the guy, I'm the guy, I'm the good guy, I'm the good guy. I have no problems, I have no problems, I am good, I am good. Get behind me, get behind me. Now, there's some doubt. Like, he lost his story. He lost it. Over a year with that title, it's gone. What does he come back looking like now? If I'm fucking Cody Rhodes, I'm dyeing my hair back to dark. Showing up with a little more edge. Not Adam Copeland, but a little more edge in his character and his gimmick. Maybe not a full heel turn yet, but that, like, hey, this affected me. Like, all of this bullshit, all of this, you coming here and then leaving, and then John coming and trying to make this last year all about himself and fucking over the business and taking the title. Like, that shit affected me. Like, they have an opportunity with that to make this mean something now. Even this fucking interview where he's talking like this, they have an opportunity to do it. I give credit where credit is due. They've been able to turn some stuff that I thought was kind of stupid into some good stuff. So we'll see what they do with this. I'm not trying to speak ahead of the cart ahead of the horse here, but I've seen more good than bad, and I hold out hope.
The one thing, and Pete, let me know when the next clip is ready. But the one thing, I agree with you with the aftermath stuff. And I think the best, we have not heard as of now that Cody's advertised for Friday, and I wouldn't mind.
Hope not.
And I wouldn't mind if you think about Backlash is only what 3 weeks. So you could take all 3 weeks. Let's Cena and Randy Orton.
Give him some time. Give him some time. He doesn't need to be the next guy. The next guy after that. Let John go through his bullshit.
And the one thing that you could do with Cody, which is what they failed to do with John Cena back in his peak days, in his prime,
let him miss him.
Was let him actually go through some adversity. So that part I like. Yeah. The one thing I don't buy is Cody not having a story. There was clearly, we talked about this, and everyone has seen it. This is the same guy who beat Roman Reigns and ended the Tribal Chief's run. You could have easily, and I'll give you credit for jumping on this during the build, a babyface Cody Cena matchup where Cody's going for legacy, but obviously Cena's going for 17. And maybe there's little shots of both guys kind of attacking each other's character a little bit, but it's in the spirit of, they're both good guys in the business and whatnot. And then come WrestleMania, Cena feeling like he couldn't hang with Cody, but it's desperate for 17, delivers a low blow, whatever. He turns heel. He wins 17. But we have something to talk about, something to watch, going into Monday night and going forward. Like, you have those fans. So I think that's something that they could have done. And you could have done it while Cody, at the same time, could have went away a little bit, too. Maybe you do an injury angle, this past Monday, take out Cody, write him off television for a little bit, and then, go from there. Again, hindsight 2020, but it seems to me that was the story.
Yeah, it's always easy to post-book everything. We could do that with AEW to blue in the face, too.
But to me, that's a layup. To me, that is a layup. And if TKO could have left things alone, you would have had it. That's a layup.
We don't know what their direction was going to be. Like,
I thought I was told that they do long-term booking, long-term storytelling.
We'll have to see, because this is going to be long-term if it is. I mean, he's not going to be around until after August.
Oh, you talking about Cody?
I'm talking about The Rock.
The Rock, he ain't coming back.
Okay.
He's not coming. If he comes back, it's going to be those ones.
He runs
the board. He's gone already. What do you mean he's not going anywhere? He's gone.
He's not gone.
He's gone.
You're being
he did damage control on McAfee because he's getting his ass kicked on social media because he's afraid of getting criticized. Well, he's not gone. True. He's gone.
He's not gone.
What is he going to do now?
I don't know. What do you want him to do? Do a backflip and suck your dick? Like, what the fuck do you want?
If he's not going to show up, then don't involve yourself in okay, I don't care who's responsible for it. The Rock, TKO. Okay, TKO. Don't involve Rock in stories that he can't show up for. That's like telling Hogan, hey, Hogan, I have an idea for you. we're going to finally turn you heel. We have this elaborate story. We're going to bring in Kevin Nash. We're going to bring in Scott Hall. People are going to think they work for WWF. And then, all of a sudden, the guy who has been the face of WWF, Hulk Hogan, comes to town. And Hulk Hogan betrays WCW. And then Hulk Hogan the next night says, well, I'm not going to make any more appearances. I'm going to make sure Kevin Nash and Scott Hall get over.
John turned heel. That's not a good analogy. Because
This story should be about John. It shouldn't be about The Rock.
It is. When he explained it later on, he said, we shifted. It was now about John and Cody and not about me as much.
But if that is, then why? Tell me why Cena turned heel in the first place. Why did he turn heel?
So he had the idea to try and get Cody to turn over time. That was his idea. If you listen to what he said, I'm not justifying any of this. I'm just repeating what he said because Anthony's in blind rage, and this is what it's like when I'm mad at AEW. So I'm trying to help you. So I get it. I feel your pain. Believe me, it's every week with me with that fucking promotion. But he literally explained, this is what I wanted to do. We had a call. Triple H said, hey, what if we turn John heel? I was like, you sure? I don't know. Is he gonna be okay? Is he gonna want to do that? We get, of course, okay, this may work. We get John on the phone. John says, I want the challenge. I could, pigeonhole and hug and kiss babies and walk back around, shake hands, and I could do that, and we could coast and we'll make money and it'll be great. Or I could be challenged. And if you know John Cena, he's a bit of a narcissist. He loves to challenge himself and prove how much better he could be at something. Like, this is a guy who learned Mandarin because why the fuck not? So, like, he dives straight into this kind of shit. So he's like, ooh, something different, a challenge. Cool, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. How can we do that properly? How can we make the turn as big as humanly possible and then give me the ball? I got this shit. Now, again, for better or worse, I'm sure John played a huge part in this because you mean to tell me that he's yes-anding the fucking creative? Like, no, he's got his own shit, and it's his retirement tour. So he's mapped all this shit out with Triple H, with The Rock, with whoever he needs to talk to. How are we going to book this all the way through? I think you're getting mad. This is a Paul Heyman thing you might like. You're getting mad in inning number 3. If it's like inning 8, bottom of the 8, maybe I understand getting some upset if this is where we were, but we're in the top of the 3rd inning. I think this is a very long story because
I don't buy it.
They didn't have it.
I don't buy it. But let's move to the next.
You cannot buy
here.
it. Watch what happens when he.
I am watching what happened.
You're wrong about Otis. You're wrong about everything else. You're going to be wrong about this too.
No, I'm watching what happened, and a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
There's a reason why a lot of people don't like. There's a reason why WrestleMania 41 Sunday was the worst main event of all time.
The match was good until the end. The end was terrible.
The
end was awful.
The match was.
The match was fine.
The match
was good.
was slow. The match was. It was.
What did you expect John Cena to do, though?
I expect a better story.
That's fine, but like the match itself.
I expect a better story for the A match of WrestleMania.
Okay.
Of the Super Bowl.
That's fine.
I expect a better effing story.
The story's fine. That makes a lot of sense. But the match itself, like, John was not going to fly around like he was 20.
I understand that. It would make sense if you had a proper story, if people were able to actually figure things out and say, hey, Cena couldn't hang with Cody, so Cena had to cheat to win. If you told that story going in, babyface versus babyface, and you turn Cena heel at WrestleMania, now it makes all the sense in the world. But now, a lot of fans spent the entire show, spent the entire main event, when is The Rock going to show up? When is The Rock going to show up? And then Travis Scott is the reason why John Cena won his 17th championship.
Which The Rock is going to say shortly, he didn't like that. He think there's a few things he would have done a little bit differently. So this whole The Rock booked all this, or he was the main person. I think he had the initial idea, and then they took it. Triple H and his group, they took it, and they went the way they did. And Travis Scott is trying to be Bad Bunny, and listen, you can jump over the top rope all you want. That wasn't a good ending. I agree with Double A there. The ending of the match was not good. I didn't expect very much from John in the match. He wrestled how I thought he was going to, slow, methodical, because he can't move fast. Cody had to carry that match with speed when he had it, but John is methodical while breaking it down and getting the crowd involved in different spots, whether it's throwing punches and kicks or whether it's an actual move.
All right, so also on McAfee, we're going to play it for you right now. courtesy of ESPN. The Rock explains why he was not involved in the main event between Cody Rhodes and John Cena.
No, well, they don't have to say anything like that to me. And they know when I come to them, and them meaning Triple H and Nick and Ari as well, and I lay this out and I say, hey, here's how I really feel it should go. We can insert final boss in the end of this finish, but then where do we go? There's other commitments that I have, and I want to also be careful that we're not overstepping and leading over our skis too much here. Can get involved in the finish, and I said, but why get involved in that finish when the spotlight should just be on, in my opinion, John 17, heel champion? What does 2025 look like if this man is saying he's going to ruin professional wrestling? That, to me, is the anchoring storyline. It's not soul right now. Right now, it's not. But by the way, we'll go back to it.
We'll still got it, yeah. Still
we'll go back to soul. Look, I can't take
the thing he also said in there, too, that got cut off. He brought up that he called Seth Rollins the Superman of WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I was getting text messages when we brought this up to Cody, and it was from someone who I call the Superman of WWE, that my soul is for sale. It's just the little nuggets they drop in. Like, people like The Rock, people like LeBron, these like mega super recognizable stars, they don't make a lot of moves that aren't calculated and they don't do interviews, they don't do appearances that aren't like thoroughly thought out and planned. I think it's part of like the whole like egotistical, like I need to have my palms and everything. And you haven't said nothing wrong, by the way, as far as how you feel about all this stuff and all that too. And I get your frustration and your anger at especially him for all this shit. I think they thought in the moment at Elimination Chamber, cool, we can have this thing. We can make John's heel turn even bigger by having The Rock mysteriously tied into this. He can go. John can carry a program. We all know that. He can carry a fucking program. He did it with Austin Theory. He can carry it with fucking Cody Rhodes, of all people, who can do it.
And real quick, Kyle, I'll let you finish here. Just to be clear, if you toss out all this stuff about selling the soul, and it was just Cena and Cody with the promos that we got those 3 weeks in Europe, and that was a different story that was told, that story was fine. Those were some of the best promos.
But there still has to be a conduit for the heel turn. The Rock saying, okay, if you're not going to do it, he will, because he's sick of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't told the full story yet, and that's the part that I'm sure frustrates a lot of people. And The Rock not showing up is honestly probably designed to frustrate you more. It's probably designed to piss people off. You know what we still did on Monday? We still fucking watched. I mean, I talked about turning the shit off, but you know what? I had a day to sleep on it, and I still wanted, because I wanted to see, oh, great, what the fuck are they going to do it down with John, and what are they going to do with this shit, and what are they going to do with that? I eventually turned the fucking TV on and watched it.
The one thing I'll say, I would agree with that only if The Rock didn't do this interview. If The Rock did not do this interview.
This was fucking planned.
If he did not do this interview at all,
that's
planned. All heat, right? That's all. And it ain't like go-away heat or anything, but that's all heat, right?
This is planned. You think this is like, oh, all of a sudden because Pat got choked out and Boston Connor posted a tweet, he decided to show up? This shit was planned. It was planned after WrestleMania for The Rock to be there because he knew people were going to be pissed that he didn't show up.
It's not a good plan then. I'll say
whatever you think it is.
Then it's not a good plan.
He's laid the framework. If he follows through on what could be a very good story with Cody, we could finally get like mega boss heel Bond villain Cody Rhodes.
Can I ask you this real quick? And we got other stuff. We're gonna move here, and I want to thank Pete for following along. Thank you. Why do we need to tease a Cody heel turn? Right? No, I know you brought up the AEW side of things. Where I disagree.
That doesn't really matter. Yeah.
No, I know, but for comparison's sake, where I disagree, I think that Las Vegas crowd, particularly at WrestleMania, we talked about this a little bit before. I think that crowd. I think there are a high percentage of casuals who were just there to see Cena win 17. Now, on one hand, that's part of the story that Cena hit on Monday, and I like that. He talked about how they booed Cody on Friday, cheered him, and then booed him again. You know, I kind of like that. But in the grand scheme of things, babyface Cody Rhodes at this moment, two things. He is not giving you and giving the fans a reason to really hate him. I mean, he didn't really dominate television going into this Mania build. It was
on every show.
Well, he was on shows, but
They only have 2 a week. I mean, he was on both of them usually.
What storyline did we talk about most leading up to WrestleMania?
Towards the end, it was the Seth storyline.
I mean, the Seth storyline. We pretty much
John had their
know
moments
that.
and all
I'm
that,
not
but,
saying we didn't talk about that, but
well, they try to make it
that
like
storyline was what we talked about the most. And here's the other thing. And Michael Cole said this on commentary on Sunday when we watched. Are you going to be a good guy or are you going to be a bad guy? For a product that's aimed towards families and kids and adults too, what's wrong with being a good guy?
that's what you got Jey Uso for.
But what's wrong with, can a good guy do whatever he or she needs to do to win?
Well, we also don't know what this is going to turn out with Cody now too. Is he going to stay exactly the same?
No, I get all that. I get that part.
It's also
But
they're
I'm
trying
just,
to tease
but
drama.
I hate the perception that they laid out there, and Cole specifically said in the commentary, which tells me that is a key part of the story. And key part what The Rock was trying to present was like, I understand bad guys have all the fun. I get all that. Believe me, I get all that. But what's wrong with good guy or good girl doing whatever they need to do to get the W? I understand good guys, like, dude, tag, if the finish even was Travis Scott comes out and Cody just decks him, slaps him the way that he did at Chamber. And, like, Cody is zeroed in on Travis Scott, and then, like, Cena beats him with a roll-up or something like that. I'm cool with that. As a fan, I'm like, well, how can Cena do this? And you get the reaction you want. So that part would have been cool. But why put Cody in that position in the first place?
Because Cody needed a bit of a change, I think. It doesn't mean he has to turn full heel. I mean, like you said, there's gray areas. Look at Punk. I mean, he does heel as shit, but he still gets cheered and he still leans into the babyface. Like, that's what I'm saying for Cody to go away for a little bit and come back with a little bit more edge. It doesn't mean he's turning full heel yet. I don't think that happens until eventually that dude comes back and eventually just turns the tide on everything, and who knows what's going to happen with all that. But, like, he needs to have some sort of – this has to affect him. It can't be just I'm back and I'm the same person and I'm smiling and I'm whoa, like,
I agree with that.
It's like Jay with the fucking with his brother getting literally killed in front of him, like, or unalived. Sorry, I don't want to get blocked on TikTok, but this like bullshit. But we can't say any words nowadays. But like it's that kind of thing where it's like, man, he better change. Like to make all this worth it. All the stuff, all the yelling Double A is going to continue to do against The Rock. He's going to fly to Oahu, take a boat to Kauai, and then bitch slap him probably because he's so mad at him right now. See both veins popping out in his head. I mean, like there's got to be something that comes out of this. There's got to be something that shows character development for Cody Rhodes because he just went through a lot of shit. The Rock showed up. Give me your soul. Try to schmooze him for a month, couple weeks, whatever it was. He tells him to go fuck himself. Literally. I'm not making that up. He told him to go fuck himself. Still one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. One of the reasons why I love the Elimination Chamber appearance, because someone got to tell Rock to go fuck himself. Who wouldn't want to tell the boss to do that, right? That's the Stone Cold thing. John does his thing. The Rock amplifies it. Rock says, I've amplified it. Take it. Let's see how it goes. We'll fucking see. I hope to God I'm right. Because if I am, this could be ultimate long game storytelling that I think neither of us could really comprehend. So,
real quick before we move on, I did tell everyone on Facebook, like, what were your thoughts?
People are gonna be pissed
on this, and yeah,
of course,
my cousins, my cousin Ray is like a bunch of pure unadulterated BS. My guy Antoine, he's like, Rock is doing more harm than good at this point. I feel like he's got a little bit of Vince's tendencies when it comes to idea and time frames. Our buddy Brandon Wolf, I agree. Definitely feels like he just pops in and out when he wants to. Amanda Naylor said, I thought it would be hard to make the situation worse, but he did. And then my buddy Chris, he said, Rudy Poo, Mickey Mouse, Yabba Dabba, Baby Back Bull Drive, and then I comment, Lakers are 5.
I get it.
Oh, crap, we not supposed to say that? Never mind.
Who gives a shit? Honestly, man, like I said, I could be dead wrong.
You know what, Kyle? I hope you're right.
I just have a weird feeling we're so early in the story.
If you're right, because The Rock is taking a lot of heat, obviously.
Remember, this is in March, by the way. This is March
and-
1st when all this stuff went down. It's only not even the end of April yet. It's been 6 weeks.
Like,
and people are mad that a full story didn't happen yet. I told you, whether we agree with it or not, I feel like this WrestleMania for that story.
I think it just has to be a part. Like, that's one of those stations. I'll give you one thing. If Travis Scott was The Rock in that situation, and it was the exact same finish.
But it was the same thing as last year.
But it would be kind of the same deal.
Yeah.
Again, I think TKO in this case, and then this is my fault. We're not moving. TKO in this case took a huge swing and a miss at this stage.
For now, it's a miss. You're right.
At this stage.
You're exactly right.
At this stage. Now,
I'm holding
later
out for
in the
long-term.
show, we're gonna have a discussion about the state of the WWE. We'll talk a little bit more into the overall spectrum of things. Is there a legitimate conflict between The Office and what's going on with Triple H and his team and the writing team? I don't know. Something went wrong leading into Mania 41 because I cannot recall a main event that has just left a huge bad taste. And again, credit to WWE, credit to Triple H, because Monday Night Raw
was great.
Delivered like one of the best shows we've seen all year.
Well, they did. That's what I'm saying, man. I don't know. I think, is it possible to get too high in your success and overbook things? Yeah, I think maybe they thought maybe too much into this. But I just have a strange feeling we're so early in this story, and people are going to look back and remember when I was pissed off about that? Fuck, look at this shit.
I hope so.
Listen, I could be wrong. I'm sure the AEW fans, all two of them, will come after me. But
you told those two AEW fans you're going to watch their product.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
All right.
Because of this shit.
We usually do the sweet moment of the week, but that story was just that story was too huge to, but man, this was sweet. Our sweet moment of the week brought to you by BA Sweeties. And again, we want to thank everyone for going to BA Sweeties, of course, leading into Easter. A lot of snacks and stuff. Of course, where the holiday fell, BA Sweeties came right to use for some people. Actually, learned that our own Mac Robinson's a huge fan of BA Sweeties because he kept plugging it during our live special.
What the fuck, Mac? Do you need a job? Like, seriously. We just make him the mascot, throw him in a bunny suit, and put him in a corner.
We cannot wait with BA Sweeties for. I would not be against that. For golf.
Surprisingly, would be against that.
I know. But our sweet moment of the week brought to you by BA Sweeties. We have new Paul Heyman guys.
All it took was Brock Lesnar pissing on someone for us to be able to. Oh, fucking love it, dude! This was amazing, and I talked to you about this. I'm like, what's the logical next step for Braun? I know what's next. Spear fucking Roman Reigns out of his shoes.
Man, listen.
Don't say Roman never gave you anything, all right? Thank God for, seriously, that was fucking great. It's perfect, too, because it writes Punk and Roman off of TV for a little bit. Lets these two run fucking rump shot over WWE for the next month or so, whatever it is. Unless they want to try and book the Punk, Roman, Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins tag match at Backlash, which they could. And that's main event worthy.
Yeah, if Roman's available.
I'm sure this would be a thing where maybe because it's so close. But then after that, hey.
Well, you know what? I like the idea of right now, this is your time to blow off Punk and Rollins. That part I like. And we'll talk more about.
Punk looked weak. He came to the ring and as the babyface got stomped the fuck out, literally and figuratively. And listen. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
As he should. Actually, to illustrate, Kyle, move off the screen for a second. Move your mic.
He's asleep.
Look at that.
He might be dead.
Look at that. Look at that. Listen.
Roman looked fantastic, by the way.
He did.
Dude is probably in the best shape he's ever been in.
I agree.
Taking that part-time shit serious. He might be back for a little bit. Who knows?
He said, he gets offended when you call him part-time.
Well, he was the one talking shit to John when John was starting to leave and go to Hollywood in 16, 17, 18. Where the fuck you at, Cena? The only difference is Roman ain't doing movies. He's just taking time off. Fuck. But
did this catch you off the Braun Breaker part? Did it catch you off guard initially? When you coming into Monday, were you expecting anyone to join this group?
Yes. And I blame, ironically enough, the man who hosts the show that just had The Rock on it. Because I watched Paul Heyman's interview.
Uh-huh.
Because I wanted to see. I wanted to watch John,
Yeah.
and John actually talked.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't all just clickbait, so we appreciate that. But then I wanted to see what Paul said, because Paul's not.
Paul Heyman burnt down ESPN.
Holy
He
fuck.
burnt down ESPN.
I want to find footage of that roast.
Woo!
Apparently, they're not releasing that, by the way, because it was so bad.
From some of the clips I've seen.
Probably shouldn't. But once those Pat's buddies were like, Seth, he's got a family. He's got stuff going on. You think you'd be able to handle it all by yourself? Think you might need some backup? He's like, yeah, I think I do. And I was like, oh. And then the whole crowd, ooh. And I'm like, oh, fuck me, dude. And then lo and behold, dude comes out there barking like a German Shepherd pit bull mix. Love to see it.
Now, here's going to be the key with Braun Breaker. And I love the angle. Absolutely
Someone
loved it.
said New Evolution. Which
Could
I'm
be.
not-
I saw a video.
I'm not against.
I saw a video on IG. They did the Evolution music, and it's Paul Heyman. It was great. It was a great video.
the two I'd throw in with that before you go.
Go ahead.
What are Grayson Waller and Austin Theory doing? They're on Raw, by the way, too. I'm tired of these two dudes that have a lot of potential being a fucking comedy act. Austin Theory should be the face of the company right now. Dude is so talented. He's so fucking talented. He's got the look. He's got the charisma for it, too. If you want to go, fucking go. And Paul can make something out of those two. I believe in Paul Heyman more than almost anybody else when it comes to being a manager for a group or a person.
Now,
Like, fuck
not
me,
to
dude.
play devil's advocate here, but I'm going to for a hot second. Paul, you can't just stick Paul Heyman with anybody.
No.
Now, and I
Well,
say
you're
that.
invested in the future with those two.
No, I understand.
And that guy.
I'm just saying. Better be invested. No, I'm just saying here. In the past, Paul Heyman, they forced Paul Heyman with Curtis Axel.
Which still worked. He got him an IC title reign.
I know. And they forced. I think there was somebody else. They forced him. The name is slipping my mind right now. There could be some misses. And
He did Big Show, I think, for a little bit, too.
Well, the Big Show one. Now that was back in 2002. That was to explain the Brock Lesnar babyface turn back in the day. And that angle worked.
Still tied to, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that angle worked.
His track record is
His
usually
track
pretty
record
good.
is great, and I bring up the Curtis Axel thing only because it wasn't Paul Heyman's fault. It was
That was booking, too.
just the character didn't work,
No.
and of course it's Vince McMahon booking back in the day.
Yeah. No.
Not cutting it. So, got to be booked properly. I'm open to that idea. I didn't think of. I thought I've seen images of Austin Theory, but I didn't really put real thoughts together. I'm curious. You got my mind working here a little bit
Well,
here.
think
How
of
that
usually
will
good
work.
factions. They have a tag team, they have a mid-card wrestler, and they have a main event wrestler. The mid-card wrestler shows probably the most promise.
Mhm.
Braun Breaker shows the most promise. He's been Intercontinental Champion a couple times.
Well, you
Seth
put
is the leader, obviously.
Mhm.
And then
you put
can-
Braun Breaker in there with the intention that at some point, pretty soon, or within a year or so, he's competing for world titles.
Mhm.
That's why you put him like Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns.
That's a match. But
Man, listen,
that's I mean, they could.
and credit to Roman Reigns because we heard that Roman his contract supposedly is up after next year's WrestleMania. So if that's the case, if one of Roman's final matches, if he decides to go to Hollywood full time or whatnot, if one of his final matches is putting over Braun Breaker, I mean, kudos to Roman Reigns for doing that, or even being in a match with Braun Breaker.
Fuck, he did it on Monday a little bit. I
Mhm.
mean, that was
Like, that's a huge, for Braun Breaker to do that to Roman Reigns, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. What's going to be critical here with Braun and with Paul Heyman, I want to see two things. And number one, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm going to go in the Kyle Cornell bag of name change.
Oh, don't do the Rex Steiner thing.
I know. I don't think. But if Paul Heyman explains it well,
I mean,
like
if anyone could do it, it's him.
family,
But he's Braun Breaker.
but his name is established.
let him be his own man.
His name's
like,
established.
Yeah, it's
Number two,
past
but I
that.
think this is the biggest part. Braun Breaker is not Brock Lesnar, but he doesn't need to be. Braun Breaker has a unique build to him, but he could also talk and deliver.
Mhm.
He could also, we've seen him a ton of times. Like, Brock Lesnar's a special attraction.
To be fair, though, Brock can talk. It just he
Brock
chose to make it easier on himself and let Paul do it because Paul is Paul.
Do you look at Braun Breaker right now as a special attraction? Right now.
Not yet.
That's the goal.
Yep.
The goal here is to turn Braun Breaker into a special attraction.
He's going to be the smasher, I'm assuming, of this, whatever this faction turns into. And that will eventually lead. It's kind of like he's in the Batista spot.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, yeah, you're the future. Like, whether it's for 5 years or 15 years, you're the guy, but you need a little more guidance because you've been stuck in this mid-card bullshit. We're going to put you around the big fish now. And he's the guy who's going to walk you through it, and he's the guy who's going to help you,
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, navigate being around these guys. Paul will give you the advice. Seth will be there literally with you.
And I like the story, the plant that they're putting in now that, Seth Rollins is saying, I control everything, and then he corrected himself, we control everything. So obviously the other seed down the road is eventually one of those two turning back babyface, and then they face each other.
Screams Triple H reign of terror.
Oh, of course.
And guess who's in fucking charge? He loved the story too.
And be mindful. This happened on Raw.
Be wary.
So they got Gunther. They got Gunther out of the world title picture with that angle with McAfee.
Move his ass to SmackDown.
They got him out. They got him out of the angle. So who's next for Jey Uso? Who's coming for that championship? While one champion's on a honeymoon, somebody else is on a complete warpath to get to the top of the profession. And that's Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman. And then how do you stop Braun Breaker? You think Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso's going to stop Braun Breaker? Man, listen. Let me give you one more question.
Sure.
And then we got BA Sweeties. We'll talk about them. You want to see Becky Lynch in this group?
I have a hard time carbon copying the Judgment Day because it was two guys and a girl. It was Priest, Finn, and then it was Rhea. I don't think Becky needs it. I think Becky's okay on her own. She's got the star power to do it. If you were going to put a woman with them, one of the call-ups I'd consider before I'd consider putting, because the whole point I'm assuming of this is Seth is our current leader. He is the current number one star in the company. I want to surround you with future stars of the company, future number one guys, number one girls. I look at someone like Julia or Roxanne or one of those, and I say, makes more sense. Not Stephanie yet, but like one of those kind of girls. Or if there's a girl that's already on the roster where you're like, man, if she just got put in that spot, like that's it. That's all she needed. Like Becky doesn't really need that. Bayley doesn't really need that, though Bayley would be interesting. Like,
Bayley wants to be in a romantic angle.
I'm about to sign up for wrestling.
Man, listen, get back into training.
Yeah, get back into training.
I want Becky in this group. I'll tell you why. You're right. She doesn't need it. But I'll give you a little sample size. Remember a few years back, this was pre-pandemic, when Becky first won the championship and then Seth was a fake babyface, and they tried to pair those two up in like tag team matches.
It was rough.
It was rough, right? It was like fans didn't want to see that.
It was more rough than Braun Breaker's bark.
Yeah, it was like, imagine those two as heels working together with the guidance of Paul Heyman.
Yeah,
and Paul Heyman talking up that Becky is the man. Becky, like Paul Heyman talking them up, and like nobody can stop Becky. And think about the and in this world, because Becky is back full time. In this world, she's taking she's taking a championship. She's taking a championship. I think you go for the stars. Io Sky, bye-bye.
I think it's Lyra.
It probably will be.
Legitimize the IC title,
yeah. Right. But I like the idea of Becky Lynch with a championship, in that group, with Paul Heyman, with Seth Rollins, because you got a mastermind with Seth Rollins. He's the visionary. Think about and she has a championship all the way up to, I don't know, WrestleMania 42. Think about how huge it would be for an up-and-comer who's in NXT right now to in that reign and have to go through navigate through all of those things and beat Becky Lynch from that group. I like that idea.
The only thing I don't like about that, I don't like Seth having an emotional stake in this. I don't like his wife being involved in his business because that is vulnerability to Seth. If someone attacks Becky, that's his wife, he gets emotional, he gets irrational. It's a story there, but the name, ironically enough, that jumps out to me that could really put someone over in that spot you just mentioned, maybe even more than Becky, what's Rhea Ripley doing? She doesn't have family anymore. Damian Priest is on SmackDown. She's alone on Raw.
I wouldn't be against that idea.
Paul Heyman
wouldn't be against it. She needs somebody, and she needs to find a way, and she can embrace that struggle.
And she could take the title from EO and hold that for a year. We could believe that shit. We could definitely.
The only thing can Rhea Ripley get booed.
Oh fuck yeah!
Because
she tries.
Because
she hasn't been trying.
Because that build to WrestleMania, they had a great match.
Yeah,
believe it, they had a great match. But that build, she did a lot of heel things, and she was never booed.
She didn't.
That's my only concern.
She didn't lean in enough. I think if they gave her the challenge, I think Rhea could definitely flourish in that role, and she has before with Judgment Day, and it makes sense for her to feel like I have nothing now. I have no title. I have no Damian. I have no family. Where do I turn to? And here comes Paul Heyman. Like, hey, we want you back on top because Mommy's always on top, right? Well, let's get you actually back on top.
Our sweet moment of the week brought to you by BA Sweeties. Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman together. Dangerous Alliance, new generation. Right here. Speaking of new generation, classic generation, in-between generation, millennials, and baby boomers, everybody.
I mean, I don't know. Like Tom said, B.A. Sweeties has been around for 75 years. But Pete, back in the 1800s, was B.A. Sweeties just hanging out? Was it still an idea back then? Or?
If you ever want to just jump in.
I know you were best friends with Abraham Lincoln before he was shot, but nevertheless.
If you ever just want to jump in and kick his...
That requires jumping over multiple tables, and I think Pete's good where he sits right now.
Take the Ridge Road exit. It's exit 15, and I learned that thanks to Kyle in the graphic. Rebecca took these pictures, by the way, so thank you for that. Ridge Road exit.
The one woman in his life he doesn't hate.
Take a left turn on Brook Park Road. The giant lollipop. Oh, screw it. Play the commercial. Take the Wayne to BA Sweeties, where he can. You should.
He can find a nice little lollipop. He can turn that some bitch sideways and shove it straight up. It's candy ass. The final boss.
You know the final boss does love candy.
He loves his sweets.
He loves his sweets. He loves his. I can't say that.
He loves that sweet poontang pie.
I can't say that. BA Sweeties, check them out. We were there, of course. Twice for show business and then multiple other times just for shopping. And
dude, it's so tasty in there. I almost licked the floor.
I would not advise you to lick the floor, but the smell will make you want to.
I say shit now just to see if I can get Pete to break, which has no bearing on the show whatsoever. It's just if I can make someone who's above 99 years old laugh, I feel like I've made it with his fake teeth.
You know what? That's enough. That is enough senior citizen jokes on Pete. Okay?
That is a muff. He hasn't had muff in years. Back in my day, ladies never shaved.
BA Sweeties.
Dude, you were yelling for 45 minutes straight. We got to lighten this shit up a little bit.
Listen. I'll just get some water here.
Oh, my God. You almost turned into an actual rock. That's how mad you were. You were hard.
I was upset.
Yeah.
I was upset.
I'd say so.
I'm going to be a Sweeties and
No,
calm myself down.
Yeah, Muff said.
Calm myself down. Loads of treats. Loads of good stuff there, that, including Snickers. Listen, if you're not feeling like yourself, go to BA Sweeties. They'll take care of you. That's the sales pitch right there. 6770 Brook Park Road, Cleveland, Ohio.
You want to feel more like yourself? Go to BA Sweeties.
If you want to feel more like yourself, go to BA Sweeties. I'm telling you, you'll feel better.
You love to see it.
You love to see it. Oh, man. 6770 Brook Park Road, Cleveland, Ohio. Zip code 44129.
If you type it into those GPSs,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you put the zip.
Yeah, make sure you put that in. Nah, but you'll be able
Zip
to.
it up.
You'll find us. The giant lollipop, you'll find it. Like Kyle mentioned, 75 years, locally owned business. We think they've been supporting us for almost a year now, which is crazy.
Yeah, next month will be a year.
Mm-hmm. So, BA Sweeties, definitely check them out.
This was
all right. So
I got so fucking nervous, dude. I was like, "Oh my god, don't do it! Don't do it!"
We're gonna show you right now, or you can hear it. This is the My Fabert promo of the week, brought to you by Mike Fabert from State Farm, which you can see is go to his office, Lee and Mayfield in Cleveland Heights. I think we all felt the same when this happened, courtesy of WWE. Okay, so there are no words here.
Look how he's standing there. Look at him.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's the turn shot. Oh, your boy had a panic attack until he came in for the hug. And even to the hug, I was kind of like, ugh. But then Jimmy came out.
The crazy thing. So if he missed it, both Jey and Sami, that was courtesy of WWE. Both Sami and Jey went to the turnbuckle, went to different turnbuckles, and as Jey is yeeting, Sami gets down.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at that moment, I'm like, no. That's a heel turn I do not support. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. I think Sami was legitimately hurt. That's why he missed WrestleMania. He wasn't involved in any of the angles, whatever it was. So I don't know if he's actually cleared yet to wrestle. So just being there for Jey was kind of the whole point. But yeah, I was fucking nervous, dude. I'm like, no.
And did you hear the crowd?
They were like, oh, like
Mm-hmm.
they were thinking it was coming. And thank you, WWE, for once not pulling the trigger on a turn in the Triple H era. We appreciate that. At least for now. Like, let's keep this going. Now, maybe they can do a thing where they actually do fight for the title at some point, but it's face versus face.
Yeah.
And there's respect. And hey, man, love you, but you achieved your dream. Now it's my turn to achieve mine. That kind of thing. There's a story there, and then Sami you can poke the prod a little bit and see if turning heel makes sense. But especially with no Kevin right now, and not getting a satisfying ending to that story, and it's just like it's better served to keep Sami where he is, and eventually we can cross that bridge maybe down the line. But Jey deserved the night; he deserved his moment because he's not going to have that title for very long, I don't think.
Yeah, and we talked about it last segment. Maybe the six man, you got Braun and Seth, and you got to find a third, or maybe not, but. Sami and Jey, or if Sami's not cleared, like you said, the Usos in that spot versus Braun and Seth, like just as a television feud, and then you have your pay-per-view match. But yeah, what a moment though! Great segment. I love Jey Uso's T-shirt. I want the shirt. But
you can probably order it on WWE Shop.
Is great. Again, not everything has to go the way I want it to go.
You wanted him to kick him in the face?
No, I'm kidding. No,
what the fuck?
No, I didn't want that. I wanted Jey and Gunther to have a rematch.
Oh.
But like on Raw, like no holds barred or something. You get in, but they're not going with that, and that's fine because I love the Gunther angle again with McAfee and Michael Cole. That was great. That angle came out of nowhere too because they came back from break. And, you look up oh, whoa, what's going on?
It's almost like Gunther lost everything he stood for and got Punk bitched out at WrestleMania. And now he has to – how is it going to affect him?
And now Jey Uso has his flowers. So that was a great celebration. Let him have the honeymoon. And then next week, if it's not Seth Rollins, I don't know who else will be the next challenger.
I don't know if Jay's going to be on the Backlash card just because they're going to have most likely the Seth tag team match with Roman and Punk, I would think. And then you're going to have Cena and Orton.
Well,
so I don't know. I mean,
remember, so May's going to be pretty packed here. You're going to have Backlash on May 10th, whatever that Saturday is, May 10th.
It's coming.
And they have a Saturday night's main event on the 24th.
Fuck.
So they could do
the show that means absolutely nothing.
Right. So what they could, but that's the show where the world title matches happen. So they could do the tag team match at Backlash,
actual premium live event,
and then the world championship match at Saturday Night's Main Event
Makes
2 weeks later.
Makes a lot more sense.
They could do that. Yeah. But
Anywho,
the promo itself was great. Yeah, thank you for not delivering on the heel turn. Didn't need that to happen.
But you know who always delivers on turning your life around? Mike Fabert. Tell him how.
What should fans who might be watching you here in Cleveland for the first time, hey, they look you up on the website, on the app, they call you, what should they expect?
Yeah, I mean, first off, between me and my team, you're going to get one of us. If you want to deal directly with the man, you're more than welcome to. I don't mind. I love working with customers because I look at it this way. I have a lot of good life experience financially. I've said 12 years of banking. I've got now 2.5 years of insurance. I have a lot of money and just kind of life and financial stuff knowledge. So that's what I look to do, is to truly help people get from that point A to point B financially. It's not about just, saving money on auto insurance, sure, but if I can kind of turn that into a better discussion, really help people understand what actually insurance does, why it's important, because it's not a tangible. I joke when I leave that I lock the office door so no one steals all the insurance, but there's not just insurance laying around. So there's just it's kind of a mystery kind of component in people's lives that they think is a scam and all the different things you hear. It's not. It can feel like it sometimes. I'm not even going to say that it doesn't, but if you understand how it works and understand and have a person who you can go to help with those kind of situations, that's what we're here to do. That's what my team's here to do. That's what I'm here to do, and that's what I take a lot of pride and have a lot of passion in, obviously, as you can probably tell. So,
well, I know you said the joke, hey, we locked the door so no one steals the insurance, but it's exactly right.
Mike from State Farm, Mike Fabert from State Farm. You heard him. All the services and stuff, and the crazy thing with insurance, especially now with the weather heating up. We talked about it on opening day. Like, drivers sometimes are reckless.
You thought people when the first snowfall, people are rough to be around here in Northeast Ohio, man. Just when it breaks 70, which it has now a couple times, people are fucking stupid on the roads, man. It's insane. Whether it's the auto insurance, whether it's thinking about broader spectrum like your life, like your family, that kind of thing, give Mike a call. Phone number 216-932-6900. The website for our audio listeners is My Fabert Agent, Fabert, myfabertagent.com. Mike has got you covered all the way through. You can also go to that website and you can get a quote right from the website, which is kind of nice.
One other thing, too, if you have a pet, I didn't even know this until we brought. He offers pet insurance too.
Mm-hmm.
Ask him about the pet
That's
insurance.
huge. If you did some vet bills, stuff like that, whatever it is. Sometimes there's even a way to tie in pet and home.
Yeah.
Like when your pet terrorizes your fucking house and tears up your couches and shit. Maybe you want a little bit of compensation, a little bit of help with that. Talk to Mike. He might be able to help you out there.
And he's also a professional wrestler as well. And we've been following his.
It's been Chronicle at this point.
I know.
The Chronicles of the Claim Adjuster.
Yeah.
Starring Dwayne Johnson.
Where's the story? No, Mike has you covered.
You gotta tell me right now. Home or auto? Fuck.
Is Mike a good guy or a bad guy?
Mike's a different.
Actually, he should be a great guy.
Mike's still wearing the toga from last show, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One little cool thing that Exodus has done, they showed out like the Meet the Superstar, so we want to kind of do this.
Finn Paladin. I fucking love EC3, man. I'm sorry.
Man.
What a fucking
fucking
Paladin.
Yes. So they
Get
have
out of here, man.
So they have a show coming up on May 23rd, and this is a look at their champions, of course. So EC3 is not their champion currently, but he is a 3-time world champion.
He's the overlord.
Mm-hmm.
He's the grand poobah. He's Oz. But if Oz came out in front of the camera and body slammed a motherfucker,
yeah,
that's what he is.
My guy right here, Dante Casanova. That's the guy. He's the NWA Midwest champion. He is that dude.
He's already defended that in 8 states.
Man,
wow,
absolute craziness.
Dude's working.
La Princesa, we had
Your
her
favorite
on.
person, yeah. Go on, talk more about women that you hate. Go ahead. I still don't think your apology was enough.
We had her on the show. Now, one little cool thing from the interview, she talked about her cancer battle.
Yeah, it's real cool. Dude, why do you hate women so much? What the fuck is your problem? Like, you seriously, like, I know someone, we can get you to talking with somebody and figure out what the issue is if there's a woman being around the conversation or whatever it is, man. I worry for you as your friend, as your co-host, as your partner in this project we call life when it comes to this show. Like, you concern me sometimes, man. Like, saying her cancer is cool? Like what? Like, that's not cool, man. That's not cool, man. That's not Carlito. All right, what the fuck are we doing here? Like,
where's my apple? It's TME, and then Rebecca's favorite, Carson Drake. There's Carson Drake, youngest NWA TV champ, and then TME, absolute dogs.
That's because Carson Drake is still in middle school in Orange.
I'll let you tell him that.
I'll fucking tell it.
You can tell him that.
I'll tell it to his
on
face.
Friday, May 23rd, at the Waterloo.
I haven't bitch slapped the Proud People in a while. That should be fun.
The boys are back in town. Exodus Pro Wrestling presents. Of course, our guy Brandon Beretta in there. But Brandon, we up here playing games. He's not.
No,
He's
that's
not.
that's someone I would not want to say anything.
Yeah, you want to say something? Go to Brandon Beretta.
Nope, I choose my spots.
All right, let's go. All right. Obviously, WrestleMania took place, of course.
What?
And we wanted to acknowledge.
What?
We wanted to acknowledge the three things we loved, three things we did not love about WrestleMania over the weekend. So, Kyle, I'll let you go first here. Three things you loved about WrestleMania.
So I think we're both probably going to agree with this, but I loved the night one main event. That main event, not Saturday night's main event, but the main event that happened on Saturday. Because believe me, there is a fucking difference.
Yeah.
From what we've seen so far. But that was amazing storytelling, and it builds hopefully to something that we're going to see with this new group, whether it's just those two, whether they expand, whatever it is, of something really special with some really good talent in WWE. When it kind of feels like, what's the next big story that they can really sink their teeth into for like years? This has the ability to do that if done properly. So really, really excited about that. Second thing I loved is Jacob Fatu winning the U.S. Championship. I think that was huge. One of the better matches we got during all of the weekend, which is kind of cool too, that they actually were able to put on for all the criticisms LA Knight gets of not being, he doesn't work well enough, and he's got a lame-ass moveset or whatever, and he just falls forward for his fit. Like, he put on a great fucking show. You kind of expect that out of Jacob, too, at this point. And now that sets up a huge thing with him in Solo. I'm imagining tomorrow night we're going to see the coronation of Jacob.
Can't wait.
And what Solo does. We know Tama Tonga apparently is hurt now, so it's just those two.
No,
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of tough. No, We're like, no. Yeah, so he's out. And for as terrible as...
What do you think about Deshaun Watson's performance? No.
We're not going to talk about that. But the third thing for me, Double A, for as backwards and as unfortunate and deflating as the story was, because I wanted more out of it, the match itself between Rhea, Bianca, and Io was... Listen, we paid as close attention to it as we could because we were watching the Cavaliers in their first game because, NBA and WWE just booked it on the same fucking time. But nevertheless, watching it back a little bit and even in the moment, like, that was a really good match. All three of those women. It just shows the women's roster for WWE, if you include NXT right now. Holy shit. Like, it's and I want to see all of them. Mm-hmm. It's not even like I don't fucking know. Like, in the way they incorporated it on Monday too, and I am excited to see. I'm also happy Bianca didn't get involved on Monday, which means she's back on SmackDown, so she's going to have to deal with Jade and Naomi.
Cannot wait for that.
That's going to be fun.
Cannot wait.
What's the next progression in that story?
Mm-hmm.
Again, not putting all of her eggs in one basket, trying to spread it out so people aren't like, oh, every single fucking story got blown up at WrestleMania. I give Triple H a little bit of credit for that. Make me want to watch SmackDown. Thank you very much. But those are my three things. There's a few other things that kind of stood out. But for me, in my head, those are the three things. It was kind of a light weekend when it came to I loved this, but that's for me. What about you?
I think for me, of course, the Saturday main event. I thought the Saturday main event was one of the best ever. From an in-ring standpoint as well, obviously you got three workhorses. But, Seth Rollins, it's going to be great about his run too. at the top, is you got a workhorse at the top too. So that's what's going to be great. And as one man may call him, he is the Superman of WWE. Wink, wink. No, but the match was great. I love the finish and how it was booked too, because if you watched our live stream, I thought the way it was shot, and production did a great job. I thought somehow Paul Heyman was going to slide that chair in between Punk and Roman and go right to Seth Rollins. But they creatively gave you an extra 5 minutes of progressively, Heyman's against Punk. Then you saw Roman smile. And then, get him. This is your shot. This is 11 years in the making. Roman Reigns finally gets to deliver the chair shot he has waited 11 years for. And then Paul did what he did. And
what Pat say? Hey,
no.
Then you went over and Paul Heyman went and hit a little hey.
He did all
and
that.
A little, like a hey. And then another hi.
I didn't know when I was younger. I didn't know that this was a bad thing.
Oh, like the.
Give it to. Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, audio listeners, but I didn't know.
We're using our arms to use what our fingers can do simpler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and my buddy did that to our high school teacher. He got sent to the.
He got thrown out of a second-story window.
Yes, he did.
You went to Maple. They were throwing that shit out.
Listen.
Lock you on the roof for an hour.
Man.
What other torture did they?
Maple was all right. I will show you all my schools and stuff that I went to, but they tore them all down.
Same.
New buildings.
No, nothing.
Well, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Parma Senior.
Yeah, gone forever, Aaron Hernandez. What are you going to do?
When I was younger, somebody, when we had a teacher strike in 5th grade, somebody stuffed a crayon in the heater.
That's a terrible idea.
And
it smelled like Crayola for a month.
But they did it in September.
It smelled like brick red for a month.
Right. So they did it in September. So it's okay, obviously we didn't fix it. And so got to January, and it's just, whoa.
This school is on fire.
Dude, what are you doing? You can't do that. We're already lacking in funds. Our yearbook was already in black and white. We're trying to.
Should have used the fucking crayon instead of putting it in the heater. You should have
coded
the yearbook.
Put it in the camera. What are you doing? All right. So the night one main event was fantastic. I'm gonna put Naomi and Jade Cargill. Kind of again and I'll lump in honestly that match along with the opener from night 2. Again, Naomi and Jade Cargill. What an unbelievable story going in. And you talk about, in particular, Naomi, who has embraced, waited years. And she has the same opportunity as John Cena does. And to be able to, you see somebody in the same role for years. You don't envision Naomi to get out of the mid-card, babyface mid-card. That's where she is. And all of a sudden, she gets an opportunity to go heel. And she has lived up beyond expectations. And I thought the match did a great job, too. Obviously, the right finish. But
the finish was sexy. Just ask Rico.
That was great. It was great. Yeah, Rico. Yeah.
It was sexy.
Yeah, it was. In fact, forget 5-star. What was your rating? Sexy. It was great. But
69 stars.
It was great. The third thing, I thought, again, every time Logan Paul steps into the ring, he delivers. Every single time. And I get it. It's almost like the Shane McMahon treatment of, hey, you have months to kind of write out this match to see how it goes, and whatnot. But listen, give me a bad Logan Paul match. Can you find one?
Now, let's be fair, too. Look at the people he's working with.
I understand, and that's the key. And I wonder at some point, will they ask Logan Paul to carry somebody? Or not even necessarily carry, but are you going to be in a match against somebody who's not up there in terms of, in the ring or whatnot? But as far as styles, right? Well, AJ Styles did all right, too. But as far as in-ring styles, he's worked with a slower-paced guy like Roman Reigns.
Yep.
He's worked with. Has he been in the ring with John Cena?
No.
Not yet.
No, he did Ricochet, which was fast-paced.
He did Ricochet, fast-paced.
Before he went to AEW and started just being Jadakiss every other week.
Right. So, right. So he has worked. He has worked different styles and has perfected everything. And I love the entrance too. With the drone the whole time.
Yeah, he palmed the drone. Like we were saying, hey, don't Trevor Bauer yourself. Like it's you cut a finger off on it.
Honorable mention before we get to the dislikes. The NXT main events on Saturday. I know everything that has been going on with Rock and everything else has completely overshadowed NXT Stand and Deliver. The two main events, the Women's Championship match, where they essentially built up Stephanie Vaquer, like the move that Booker loves and our former Sweet Moment of the Week, building that up. It was great, and the fans loved it. The Men's Championship match, one of WWE's Match of the Year candidates.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Trick Williams and Obafemi and Evans, I thought they did an unbelievable job. And it was a unique triple threat match where there were three distinct different stories, but the match was booked in a way that, like, it felt like sports, right? It felt like, Evans is like the rookie Dan Marino, who's like 20 years old. This is his first championship match. Oh, he'll be back. We don't know. Trick Williams has been trying to find his way to a championship, back to where he belongs this entire time. And he's desperate, can't get the job done.
It's turning into Criminal Hayes.
Right. He's turning into somebody he hates, right? And then the champ, Beast. Man, I can't wait for him to be on the main roster. I can't wait. I know it's not going to happen for a while. I can't wait for him to be on the main roster.
He's got to believe first before he achieves.
Man, good stuff there. All right, 3 things we hated. You want me to go first, or you want to take this?
Yeah, sure, because you're already sweating, so let's get you more upset.
Number 1, we spent the first 45 minutes of the show on. Number 2, Tiffany and Charlotte, story didn't click, match didn't click.
They had no chemistry.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And it's one of those things, we talked about it on the live stream. Sometimes a pairing that just seems obvious, right? It seemed obvious. Yeah. It just doesn't click. And there are major questions about Charlotte, which we'll get to on this show in the coming weeks. There are major questions with Charlotte. I think there are major questions, too, with Tiffany, even though she retained. I think there are questions there, too. Like, can she succeed in a role of a babyface? Or, like, I can't even think of who Tiffany's next opponent is going to be. And I'm sure, and they may go back to Charlotte. I don't know. And the problem is,
I hope not.
I don't want them to go back to Charlotte, but I don't know who else Tiffany is going to face in that role.
We'll see what SmackDown brings, because that's one of those things where they need, okay, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
Does Nia come back and they run that shit back for Backlash? Like, I have no idea. I don't know. Like, I think that's partially exciting, because that story did come to, I think, a head at WrestleMania, and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
But also Charlotte not going for a championship, as much as we don't like it, seems strange nowadays. So I don't know what she's gonna do. Maybe she takes more time off. I have no fucking clue. Maybe she gets like, hey, you need to go away for a while because you fucked everything up.
The third thing, and this is tough because ultimately this is one of those. Well, there's not really much you could do about it.
Are we gonna have the same fucking 3?
My third. At the end of all this, I don't know about this. I like that WrestleMania is 2 nights. I don't. The problem with the 2-night format, give or take, you're going to have about 5 or 6 matches that are just yikes. And in most cases, I think for the second year in a row, most of those happen on night 1. So I think you have a situation where if you have 14 matches across 2 nights, and like let's say 4 or 5 of them don't hit, but most of them are on night 1, boy, I'm not sure if you're gonna have people looking forward to night 2. It just becomes exhausting. So it's an endurance thing. I'm not sitting here saying, listen, they need to cut down to just one night because I'll take this
over an 8-hour
over
show. Yeah.
sitting through an 8-hour WrestleMania 35 all over again. But every match on WrestleMania should have, whether you like the story or not, should have a story going in. I don't want to see situations where it's that time of the month. Let's put them on the card, and then boom, they're on WrestleMania.
So I'm not arguing the validity of the stories or how good they were, but the only match I could think of that didn't have an actual story to it was Randy, because Kevin broke his fucking neck and couldn't wrestle. Everyone, whether the stories were good or not, I mean that's obviously the reason why we have things we don't like. But
Right.
I mean, you know, they try like.
And again, I give them credit; they tried, and I think ultimately, and I think we talked about this before. On one hand, we could say, "Oh, why is this match not on the card?"
Yeah.
But then, would you or why is this match on the card? But then, would we rather say that or say, why is my favorite superstar not at WrestleMania? Why is my favorite superstar who deserves this moment not on the card?
Well, you need to have like
Bailey comes to mind with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this apparently was the plan all along, which Bailey never made sense as a tag partner for Lyra, but Becky did. So that's why I was.
Well, and the thing about that, I understand this was Bailey and Lyra was a thrown together tag team, but then they invested in an hour-long gauntlet match. So in terms of storytelling,
Bailey did all the work.
Yeah, in terms of storytelling, we have 5 matches to get to know Bailey and Lyra in that situation.
I almost wonder, because it's going to be obvious, right, that Becky took out Bailey. Like that's, I mean, when's the last time we had a Becky Lynch Bailey storyline?
Was Bailey heel?
Maybe, but that was so long ago now.
I know.
Like initial heel, like pandemic Bailey.
Pandemic Bailey.
It's been like 5 years since we had.
And I don't even think that because
And then you
most of that timeline, Becky was out because she was pregnant.
Yeah. So I mean, it's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fresh story.
And Bailey did the interview, and then we'll get to the 3 things you hated.
Yeah.
Bailey did an interview with Chris Van Vliet, and she says she does not look at herself in the same eyes as Charlotte and Becky. I disagree with that. I don't know where Kyle stands with that.
She's humble.
She's very humbled. But man, I don't know if I would live with the, hey, we're gonna get you into this build for WrestleMania. Everything's good. We're going to get you in a story. And then all of a sudden, you can't compete.
I think once she found out that that they were going to lose the titles the next night, she's probably like, you know what? I think I'll set this one out.
I can give you it, baby. Yeah.
All the history of the tag titles, you know what? That's fine. You have Becky come back and lose it. Then I'll come back after Backlash, and we'll do a thing with me and her, and we'll do like a SummerSlam match or whatever. I think she probably looked at that and was like, yeah, probably best I'm not involved with that.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Also, the all-women's pay-per-view coming up this summer as well.
Yeah, they didn't announce it yet, did they?
I'm not sure if they announced it, but
it's
it'll
happening.
It'll happen.
I'm excited for that.
All right, Kyle, go ahead.
I know you're not because you hate women, but nevertheless.
That I will not be covering that show.
Yeah, because you sexist.
In fact,
bastard.
I'll be. When is that show?
I don't know.
I'm taking 3 weeks off. Go ahead.
So you hit the nail on the head. Obviously, the first 2 things you said with Charlotte and Tiffany, that was rough. I didn't like the finish of the match with John and Cody. The match did exactly what I thought it was going to do, the match itself until the finish, because I didn't think John was going to be world-beating. He's never had one of those kind of... I mean, maybe the AJ Styles match might be his best match ever, but again, AJ carried a lot of that. So I didn't really expect that kind of thing. Just the finish was not very good. There could have been a little more there. Even if Rock wasn't going to be involved, there could have been a little more to it. The third thing I hated, and it may not be popular with people, I hated Stone Cold's appearance. It felt wasted. HBK on night 1 announcing the crowd, cool, whatever.
I know somebody else who hated his appearance.
Yeah, the girl in the front that got ran over by a fucking ATV.
Honestly. Go ahead.
And what did I say during
Sorry.
when we were sitting down, we were at your apartment watching. I'm like, man, he's really hitting those corners hard on that fucking. Next thing you know, he crashes into the fucking barricade. Woman,
Man, I ain't never seen a bigger flop job since watching LeBron James.
Anderson Varejao in the 2000s in Cleveland. They made a rule after that, dude. I don't. The whole appearance was bullshit. You know what I wanted? I wanted Stone Cold to come and help in the main event, but once it was determined that Rock wasn't going to be there, I think he was like, okay, how do we still get Steve involved with the show?
I think we look at Stone Cold, and this is a fair assumption here. Stone Cold, like, there are Hall of Famers, right?
Yeah.
There are Hall of Famers. We look at Mount Rushmore, and we don't want our Mount Rushmores to just show up and announce the attendance.
Yeah. Don't show up and promote just your beer.
Right? Like, we don't want our Mount Rushmores to just stand on stage, with the Hall of Fame and not get the special entrance. Right? And, I get the conflict, and kind of again what I talked about at the beginning of the show about The Rock, like, hey, if he's going to be on the show, do something, but if you don't have any plans, then what? I get all that, but yeah, I could definitely see like that ended
up being a terrible appearance.
This is not Stone Cold. Like,
the only silver lining with this is that it was so bad. That I had imagined the competitiveness in Steve says, I cannot let that be my last like on-screen real appearance at a WrestleMania or whatever. I have to do something to make that shit up because I can't. Damn, man, last thing I do is take out a woman with my ATV shit.
Love this interview on McAfee.
Yeah, it was great.
Loved it.
I watched it.
Loved
it.
It.
Fantastic.
It
Which he said, like, I'm a P. Like he doesn't like have an itch to get back in the ring or whatever it is, but like, I'd love like to just figure out a way. I mean, if Kevin Owens can pull his ass out, there's got to be some writing there. Maybe it's Cody's redemption arc. I don't know what it is, like, but like it's something that's going to be big enough to pull Steve in.
You know what? Maybe I don't know if a back or this WrestleMania is the only place he would be. But if he was in in Vegas on Friday?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, he was in the Hall of Fame. He got inducted for the match.
Oh yeah, I forgot 3 a.m. So
hey. Midnight Vegas time, all right.
So he was available for SmackDown. So, but they teased Cody and Cena. But I would like even a backstage where Stone Cold, who in our eyes, ultimate like babyface, but raised hell and whatnot. Like, hey, you could do all that stuff and still be a good guy.
Like,
now, obviously,
damn son, you can show a little bit of some sweat in your brow, you son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can. Like, you can bend the rules. That's the whole point. Don't break them, but bend them a little bit. Like,
I would have loved that.
Yeah.
I would have loved that.
Well, now they, again, talk about that story being in the third inning. They have the opportunity to do that with Cody.
Okay.
He can come back. He can show a little bit more edge. And Stone Cold could be like, you're allowed to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're allowed to, motherfucker kicked you in the dick. Like, well, but we can't whoop ass on him. Like, we're not going to, hold the title. No, you swing that motherfucker. Like, you go for it.
And if Rock is still somewhat, if he's still in the shadows of the story, you could say, you don't need to sell your soul to nobody. Like, F him. Like, you be your own man. And fans will love that.
Before it's all said and done, those two need to come together again for something. Like, there's you want to talk about making the moment and selling tickets? Like, that is a moment that needs to happen again. Doesn't need to be a match, but they need to have some sort of altercation on camera one more time while they still can.
Would you do like if it's Cody and Cena again? Would you do have them as managers,
no.
or Austin and Rock as managers?
No,
or something.
I'd have them show up,
okay,
and interfere in the match or be involved in the match, but no, I don't want managers.
Okay,
they don't need that. Those guys. I look at managers as enhancement to the talent because they need it sometimes. Whereas some talent, it's more like he's just hooked to him, like Brock and Paul. Like,
right.
Paul was just hooked to Brock.
Right.
Brock really didn't need Paul. He really didn't if you think about Brock and his character and what he could really do.
Mm-hmm.
But Paul was just like the piece that was just at the end. Cody doesn't strike me as that guy. He strikes me as a guy who has followers, not.
I was just saying for a one-match situation.
Yeah, even show up, that'd be cool. Like SummerSlam, hey, first 2 nights SummerSlam, we could do something, that'd be cool, that kind of thing,
So you mentioned did you get your 3?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, so
It was Tiffany. It was the main event,
Yeah.
just the ending, and then it was Stone Cold crashing into a fan.
a couple honorable mentions before we go to break. Americano. Great.
The legend lives.
Great little package there. It was hilarious. Hilarious. Great stuff. Also, congrats to Eddie Guerrero's son, Dominic Mysterio, for winning the Intercontinental Championship.
What did I fucking tell you? He is so over right now. Like people, he got booed so hard to the point where people started to like him. And
they pulled the Finn, and like Finn, in my mind, was getting like go away heat a little bit. Yeah. And then Dom came to the rescue.
And now JD's back.
Mm-hmm.
After he helped Dom retain the title over was Penta.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So another big win against another top tier opponent. Penta all of a sudden can't find a way to win a match after winning all of his matches, which is good. Some adversity early on for him. Maybe it requires getting Phoenix and him together.
And then obviously Braun Breaker not involved with the finish because he has other things to do now.
He's on the main event.
Yes, he has
on
other
the mid
things.
Card, which say what you want right now. Judgment Day is a mid card talent.
They are.
They're a mid card talent.
It's a mid card story, but a great story with Dominic Mysterio winning.
Yes.
And I love his interviews too. He's
the greatest Intercontinental champion ever. You've been champ for 30 minutes, Dom. I know.
But really, I've been here since I was 10 years old. So in reality, I'm a
20-year vet. I fucking died. I'm like, and people are like, yeah.
Oh, man.
He's got a chance to be, I think, cheered louder than Cody ever was because of just the investment. People invested booing into him. Like, he couldn't talk for like 8 months. He could not pick up a microphone, and it wasn't piped in. Fuck you, Wrestling Insider, and all that bullshit. It was not. We were there live multiple times. Nope. I couldn't hear myself think, and it wasn't because there were speakers playing. Like, dude, I'm so happy that he's gotten to where he's at now, and it's only going to go up from here. So
it's going to be interesting. Can he talk for the first time? All right.
Oh yeah, come on, he's Eddie's son.
Yes, he is. All right, when we come back, the state of WWE moving forward. What's next for WWE as a whole? We talked earlier in the show passionately about Triple H. Where does he stand? Is The Rock, and more so, and maybe Kyle's right in this sense, maybe it ain't The Rock. Maybe it's more TKO influence. You know, is there a little bit of conflict there? So we'll talk a little bit about that coming up. Also, time permitting, rapid fire. We're way over.
Dude.
Yeah, we're
better than being way under, if you know what I mean.
I know. Actually, instead of rapid fire, we'll show you the cards that we had.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Projected from the Royal Rumble. Let's see how far off we were.
Yeah, it's good to end the show on a light note because we both fucked that up big time.
Oh man, but people who never F up because they care about you, of course. Our friend Megan Gallagher from Omega Video Marketing. Our buddy Mike from State Farm, and this guy right here, Tom, from BA Sweeties. Tom, do you know where everything is here in the store?
No.
Okay.
In a general idea, I do, but I can't tell you how many times my office is on the floor of the store,
right? And
my door is always open. All our managers' doors are always open if they're there. So if any customer has a question or whatever, if they can't find an employee, stock guy or whatever on the floor, they can just, hey, where's this at? So I can't tell you how many times a customer would come in and say, can you tell me where sugar-free candy is? And I'll say 12N. No, 12S. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And it says it's right down, go down this way because you're in aisle 7 now, 5 more aisles or whatever. And then I'll think about it after they leave, and I'm like, oh, man, I told them the wrong aisle. It's aisle 13.
What should fans who might be watching you here in Cleveland for the first time, hey, they look you up on the website, on the app, they call you, what should they expect?
Yeah, I mean, first off, between me and my team, you're going to get one of us. If you want to deal directly with the man, you're more than welcome to. I don't mind. I love working with customers because I look at it this way. I have a lot of good life experience financially. I've said 12 years of banking. I've got now 2.5 years of insurance. I have a lot of money and just kind of life and financial stuff knowledge. So that's what I look to do, is to truly help people get from that point A to point B financially. It's not about just, saving money on auto insurance, sure, but if I can kind of turn that into a better discussion, really help people understand what actually insurance does, why it's important, because it's not a tangible. I joke when I leave that I lock the office door so no one steals all the insurance, but there's not just insurance laying around. So like there's just it's kind of a mystery kind of component in people's lives that they think is a scam and all the different things you hear. It's not. It can feel like it sometimes. I'm not even going to say that it doesn't, but if you understand how it works and understand and have a person who you can go to help with those kind of situations, that's what we're here to do. That's what my team's here to do. That's what I'm here to do, and that's what I take a lot of pride and have a lot of passion in, obviously, as you can probably tell. So,
well, I know you said the joke, hey, we lock the door so no one steals the insurance, but it's exactly right.
Small business owners are superheroes, but nowadays running your business means doing so inside your shop and on social media. That's why you should make Omega Video Marketing your sidekick.
With a decade of content creation experience, I create dynamic, informative, and fun videos for your specific social needs that will increase brand awareness, get you more followers, and keep your social pages and websites current and fresh.
I offer flexible pricing and turn times and will work with you to understand your brand and your story. All of that comes from the heart. My award-winning expertise is just the cherry on top. So let's get connected. After all, your brand is the alpha and my expertise is the omega.
Megan is fantastic. Of course, if you're
the only other woman that he actually doesn't hate. We're up to 2 now. Should I include your mom? I'm not going to include your mom.
Please don't.
You hate your mom. I know you do.
MeganRG440@gmail.com. I love you, Mom. MeganRG440@gmail.com. My mom's a big fan of this show.
Because she's a big fan of me.
She is a fan of yours.
Ms. Alfred, what's happening?
Shut up. Big fan of your show.
Hold on. Ms. Alfred, what's happening?
Megan Gallagher will take care of business, of course. If you're a business owner, local business owner as well as a content creator, MeganRG440@gmail.com. Real quick, we were talking during the commercial about Aleister Black.
Yeah, he's apparently supposed to be coming back tomorrow night. So,
what were the thoughts? I want not to recite everything you said during the commercial, but
so they're at a bit of a crossroads with him, the Wyatt Six, all that stuff, because I guess they're supposed to make a comeback now too. Bo Dallas is apparently healthy. Alexa Bliss came back and then went away because Bo got hurt, so they couldn't do a full angle. The initial plan, I guess, was Wyatt Six versus Judgment Day, which would have been fun. I think 2 mid-card tag teams or 2 mid-card groups. That's a fun match on the card. It gets a lot of people involved and it makes sense. Struggle of who's kind of controlling that faction mid-card level thing. I don't know what the fuck his direction is going to be. Aleister, that is. The Wyatt Six can kind of come back and work with anybody.
right. Wouldn't surprise either of us if the Wyatt Six is back tomorrow.
Yeah.
But Aleister, they gave him a video package. They put tomorrow's date.
Maybe it's singular. Maybe there's no story originally. It's just reintroducing him and getting him over again. It's the singles matches. Maybe they get some from NXT up and he kicks their head off. It's all about the entrance and about the mystique, and then it's the kick, and then it's the sitting cross-legged in the ring, and then we move forward.
Would you put him against? Would you put him up against Mello? Now, Carmelo Hayes, he won the Andre the Giant thing last week. Obviously,
he's trending up.
He's trending up.
I don't know if you want to bury him like that quick, though. Mello seems to me like the next logical choice for the U.S. title if Jacob and Solo don't do an angle immediately. Like, Mello feels like if it's not...
But if you do that, then you have to establish one of those two, which would probably be Jacob as a babyface. Is Jacob Fatu a babyface right now?
He's I don't give a fuck what you call me.
Okay.
Face.
So he's kind of like in the Braun Breaker.
Very much. He's like
before the turn.
He's so himself, it's cool.
Okay. So you could put Jacob in the ring with anybody you feel like, essentially.
Pretty much.
Like, and if the story works, so if it is Mello, and nobody will hate watching Jacob Fatu throw Mello up and down the ring.
Oh, my God. The selling's going to be stupid.
And he sells like crazy.
With Miz in the corner and stuff, too, and trying to cheat and all that. Like, they have a way to do that makes a lot of sense. Miz and Solo's a good, struggle with those two, that kind of thing. And it can eventually lead to, maybe you do that first. Maybe you do Mello first, and then Solo sticks around until the Backlash match, and that's where you do the turn for Solo. I don't know. I mean, But Alistair might be just one of those guys where he's on his own, and he just needs to be reestablished, reintroduced to the fans
I
in
got a
WWE.
name for you. He's on the roster.
Yeah.
Good person. You could,
He's a good hand.
good hand here. Nakamura. Alistair can go like Nakamura is where he's at, but he's a name.
Yeah.
And Alistair is somebody, you want to get him off to a good start, get him some W's against an established name. Nakamura might be that guy.
He's one of those guys.
And again, Nakamura's on the roster.
Yeah.
It's hard to figure out, Nakamura's never been able to elevate, but he is still a name that you can still use on the roster while he's here.
And like I said, you can always call up a guy from NXT if you need to as well for the first match, just to like Nathan Frazier came up for Gunther and had a great match. Like you can pull someone up from NXT that shows promise to give them a little bit of a spotlight and see how they do. How do they sell? How do they work the match? That kind of stuff. How do they handle it? But
did the Rusev reintroduction?
Yeah.
Rusev was reintroduced to
the old theme music.
Monday Night Raw audience. Took out future Hall of Famer Otis. I'm kidding. Rusev coming out, attacking tag teams.
Yeah.
Did that worry you a little bit?
Unfortunately, he just doesn't really have a place right now. Like in the title scenes per se. Just because Dom has Judgment Day backing him. Rusev's not going to take on 6 guys right now. 2 guys, that's one thing. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a plan eventually to bring back Aiden English too and to do the whole Rusev Day thing again. Maybe Lana's waiting in the wings. She signed a Legends deal, so maybe she'll pop in as a manager again. I have no idea. Strange spot.
Yeah.
But also helping New Day in a sense. I imagine ties him into a heel gimmick. Maybe I hope he's not the new Big E. That'd be weird. But it'd be very weird. And it'd be very un-Rusev-like.
I know.
That character Rusev.
But I think the one thing we all remember.
He looked great, though.
He looked
phenomenal.
fucking
jacked.
He looked phenomenal.
Best he's ever looked.
He looked, yeah, you're right. Best shape he's ever been. I think the one thing with Rusev that might have bit him in the behind, both in WWE and AEW, without Lana, what is Rusev's character? I understand, badass is a great answer, but there are other ones in the field. So for Rusev,
how do you stand out?
And I think that's been his issue in WWE and in particular AEW. And then, of course, obviously AEW, you don't have good writing to help you.
Well, maybe that was a litmus test. Rock just talked about it a while ago, but I mean, hey, let's see how you do when you go out there by yourself. Let's see the reaction. Do we feel like you really need Lana with you? If you do, we can always put her with you. If you don't, and they go fucking ape shit and you look great, cool. But I mean, let's test the waters a little bit.
Let's talk a little bit about the state of WWE and a couple big picture questions here. Number one, Nick Khan mentioned going into WrestleMania that if he did sign somebody from another company,
they ain't sitting on the fucking sideline.
They're not sitting on the bench.
Nope.
What was your takeaway from those comments?
You sign them for a reason. It's not just to sign them to get them away from another company. You sign them because you want to use them in some capacity in the profession. It's like I'm leaving Walmart to go be a manager at Target. I'm not going to go work as a sales associate. Like I'm going there to do the job.
And not get
and not be put down,
not get hours,
and not be my pay is less or that like what we agreed upon. Like no, you're coming here to do something for us. We have a vision for you. Just like I imagine some of the guys that got released and girls from AEW, they didn't go and sign. I didn't have a vision for them. But we had a vision for Ricky Starks. We had a vision for Ethan Page. We had a vision for Rusev. We have a vision for Aleister Black. We have a vision for these guys, these girls, whatever, to do something impactful on the show, whether it's not everyone's a main eventer. Like at the end of the day, you do need to fill out the rest of the card, and we can bitch and moan about how good the matches are, how good the stories are, but you do need, certain people in certain spots to fill it out. Because John Cena can't talk for 2 hours as much as we all would love to see it, right? Seth Rollins can't, schmuck it around with Paul Heyman for 2.5 hours on Raw. There needs to be more things going on all throughout. Someone's got to open, someone's got to be in the middle, someone's got to close. You have to have those roles.
And more men need to fill that because the women's division, and we talk extensively about the women's division at NXT.
It's not going to last very long. They're going to be the main event.
They're coming up.
All of them are going to be in the main event.
They're coming up. So
there's legitimately 4 or 5 that I can think automatically are gonna be Hall of Famers.
Something on and somebody brought it up. It might have been Ava. Somebody brought it up. NXT Stand and Deliver had more women competing than men. And that's not by accident.
They had the 6-woman tag match or the 6-woman ladder match. But I mean,
the numbers.
Excuse the numbers a little bit.
Yeah.
But that match was great, and Sol Ruca, fantastic, amazing
Yep.
finish. She looks great. Zarya looks like a monster. I liken her to Beth Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Just how she wrestles, her style, all that stuff. We talked about Lola Vice. She could be someone that comes up. Someone that I could actually see in that group with Seth
Yeah, I can
is a
see
Lola Vice, someone who could be taken seriously as a badass.
New talent.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she has that potential. She can talk. She can whoop the shit out of people because she has an actual black belt. Like yeah.
All right, so talking big picture here. Triple H, what years this is with
I
him?
think this is technically his second full year,
Okay.
but he's been doing it for over 2 years.
Okay. So overall, I would say, like, how would we evaluate Triple H, his booking over the past year in the build to WrestleMania? I would put, again, I think his best work we saw on Saturday night with Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, the entirety of the story. He took a match that listen, you know this. I was not a fan at all
No, you didn't want to watch it.
of this match, of this match being announced. Like, excuse me, I was not a fan. And he found a way. And remember, too, Madison Square Garden, you were not a fan of the finish.
No.
Of the non-finishes, the consistent kickouts, and all that stuff. He found a way to make that work.
They did something different, so I appreciated it.
What was if you could explain to somebody your thoughts of Triple H's overall booking after 2 years full time, I would imagine it's at a great place.
More hits than misses.
Mm-hmm.
And we were again, the story has only been 6 weeks long with The Rock and Cena and that stuff. Everyone just wants to jump on it. It's like, I don't think they had WrestleMania 41 as the be-all, end-all in that story, obviously. Like, there's going to be a lot more that comes out of this. I think eventually, somehow, some way, Seth is going to be the real one that's with The Rock. At the end of it all, when the story comes to a conclusion, Seth will be that person. It won't be John anymore. It'll be Seth. That's what I truly think. But it's going to take time. The Rock has said it in every one of his interviews. It's long game shit. I think about the long game. I think about the long shit. If you come to me for an idea, I'm not going to think about just one show or 1 week or 1 month or whatever. I want to think, how long can we stretch this shit out for? Like, what could make this really? What could people get invested in long term? What can we get them frustrated with so much that they want to see how this fucking ends? Like, I have a feeling that this is a larger microcosm of a short-term people being upset with him and with the company about certain stuff. And Triple H is behind that. I think he's right there riding with everything too. More good than bad. And there's been some bad. We've been honest about that, but so far so good. Don't fuck it up.
I think the one thing with Triple H, if give him something to work on here for year 3.
You give him some constructive criticism.
I want to see him dig into the mid card a little bit more.
Okay.
I think he has hit the mark on the main events. He has hit the mark. I think sometimes we come away, especially, and you see it too, especially with these 3-hour SmackDowns, that you can put on Emmy award-winning television for 3 hours, and if one segment's off, the show sucks.
He's starting with a great slate because look at the mid card champions. Dom Mysterio and fucking and Jacob Fatu are pretty two good mid card champions.
Those are great guys to start with.
Yeah.
So I want to see developed, fully functional storylines in the mid card. I think he has hit home runs in the main event scene, but if you want to see the cards really, the television shows really put the form from start to finish so that you don't have to rely on Seth Rollins. You don't have to rely on CM Punk, Cody Rhodes when he comes back, and John Cena and others.
Yeah.
The mid card is a start. I like some of the ones that are kind of obvious, like Braun Breaker. They're moving up, right? Some of the other ones are moving up. But now let's get some of the other mid card storylines to form. The one other thing – to me, that's just alarming. I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if you saw this. But Sami Zayn NOT, he announced that he was going to be that's just alarming. I know TKO has influence. It's their company. At the end of the day, TKO does what TKO does.
They own
They own it. And I get all that. I don't want the pattern that I do not want to see. I don't want to see TKO just jump in and completely change the direction of stories. At the end of the day, I get it. It's their company. And ultimately, The Rock actually gave us an inside look at how conversations in writers' rooms between wrestlers and stuff, how they happen all the time.
Now, mind you, too, this is for a main event level storyline involving himself. So I don't think TKO is in every production meeting.
No, but that's exactly my point.
But when it comes to like the big shit, when it involves him or when it involves Cena or maybe, honestly, probably not really anyone besides those two. I feel like most of it's Triple H. And they kind of let him go, hey, you guys, this has been working for 50-plus years. We want the product.
I just don't want to see.
But there's respect there. I mean, with those guys, I think they'll get along.
I know there's respect. I didn't like Rock throwing creative under the bus like that on television. I just didn't like it. It's just I don't know.
What was negative about that? Just talking with them about ideas. People have everyone has ideas.
But
that's where you kind of kick some of the bad shit out and try to figure out what's good and what's not.
No, his mentioning of like
the top of the CEO of TKO and the president of the company and him and Triple H talking. Like,
no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like him mentioning like. There were some things I would have tightened up. I would have did things differently.
Yeah, well, that's also
creatively.
Being,
That I didn't like that because what you're doing is diffusing your work and putting it on somebody else. I don't like that. It just comes off bad taste. I just don't like that.
Well, luckily he's thinking that the bus is so high for Triple H. If he throws him under it, he'll just go past right under through.
I hope so.
Issues, yeah.
I hope so. That main event Sunday, real quick. I know you said like, "Oh, I'm going to watch AEW." I didn't buy that for 1 second.
No, because then Raw happened.
But again, there are some fans. I do have to acknowledge there are some fans who are like heavily pissed at WWE for the Sunday finish. We keep talking about lifelines for AEW. Like, this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity. Here's another one right here. Where
it's lessened a little bit because of Raw. I give Triple H a lot of credit, being able to read the situation and like, hey, this needs to be a big Raw. SmackDown's going to be, I imagine, pretty big too. Better be. It's 3 fucking hours long. But God, Jude can't come quick enough, so we can go back to 2.
Real quick, because this is on record our longest episode, so we'll cut it short next week. Of course.
Fucking A.
Let's show our cards. Just pick whatever. Just pick whatever ones are first here.
All right. Wow.
So this was my.
Was Sami even in the Elimination Chamber?
I don't think
he
so.
He wasn't. He was getting hurt by Kevin Owens.
So for our new audience. These were our projected WrestleMania cards. We predicted these before the Royal Rumble, like the week before the Royal Rumble. So for audio listeners, I had Braun Breaker versus John Cena for the Intercontinental Championship.
Literally none of these matches
Wrong.
happened.
Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Wrong. Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill.
Didn't happen.
Same story, but Triple H said hold off on that for a little bit. So then it happened.
Don't try and justify yourself. Wrong.
McAfee and Corey Graves.
That's sad.
Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu.
Didn't happen.
And that was with Bloodline Rules, solo special guest referee. Tiffany Stratton versus Alexa Bliss for the Women's Championship.
Whoops.
And Gunther versus Sami Zayn for the World Title. I put the wrong underdog in there. It could have been Jey Uso.
Well, to be fair, no one saw Jey winning that.
Yeah.
But. All right.
So that's Raw. Go ahead and go to the next one.
Yeah, Braun and Cena too in there. It's not going to. Well, I'll tell you what. Randy and Kevin Owens almost happened if Kevin would have broke his neck. Breaker and Sheamus for the IC title. Last man standing didn't happen because Sheamus wasn't on the card. Cross versus Zayn maybe could have happened if Sami didn't also get fucking hurt. Mine's injury base related.
Cross wasn't even on television until the week before Mania.
But he showed up there. He was part of the AJ Styles match. So that's cool. Graves and McAfee both had that. Rhea Ripley versus Bayley, which I still think could be a story at some point down the road, especially if Rhea joins that group and becomes champion. There you go. That didn't happen, obviously. And then my new tradition match, the number 1 contenders gauntlet, didn't happen. That involved Drew, Solo, Jacob, Carmelo Hayes, and Trick Williams. Yeah, fuck me. That would
Wrong.
be cool. It would have been cool at least. It's a new idea. And
Uh-huh.
then Roman versus The Rock. I'm sorry, I missed it by one WrestleMania. That'll be the main event of next year's Night 1.
You did get Roman main eventing night 1. I'll give you that.
Whoop-de-whoop. Whoop-de-hell.
Whoop-de-hell.
Like Freddie, the greatest Browns coach in the history of all time, Freddie Kitchens said, whoop-de-hell.
Whoop-de-hell.
All right.
Yeah, we both missed on KO and Randy, or only because of injury.
Yeah.
The Usos versus the Paul brothers.
Whoops.
I still have that on the ticket at some point down the road
Yeah, you
on
never know.
WWE
Well,
programming.
now he's world champ, so Logan has a reason to go fight him. So, honestly, there's your first challenger for Jey Uso. Saudi Arabia.
Listen.
Saudi Arabia.
Listen.
Or Saturday night. No, probably Saudi Arabia. That's coming up, too.
Lyra, Nia Jax, Bailey, Roxanne Perez.
No, there was 4 women in the match. It was just a tag match.
Only
not a fatal 4-way.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
And only
3 others.
one of those women actually made WrestleMania.
Yeah, close. Judgment Day versus Rey Mysterio and Penta. That's unfortunate. Rey's
Not
got
only
hurt.
did the match not happen, but JD McDonough was hurt
Yep.
and Rey Mysterio was hurt.
Rhea Ripley versus Becky versus Charlotte versus Liv for the Raw Women's Championship. Whoops.
Wrong.
Wrong champion. Wrong people in it.
DIY?
Versus the Wyatt
What
6.
what?
No, that's tomorrow night. That's what
Yeah, that'll be tomorrow.
Yeah. And it's going to be a TLC match.
Yeah.
'Cause we need to fill time on SmackDown. And then Cody and CM Punk, which I wish would have been the World Championship match or WWE title
Again,
match, but-
I'm not disappointed that CM Punk didn't. CM Punk was a heavy favorite to win the Rumble. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
It became Cody and John Cena. But
I forget what my night 2 was. I don't want to look at that.
But yeah, it wasn't Cody and Punk.
All right, let's see my night 2. Seth versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. That didn't happen. Cena versus Paul. That didn't happen.
I don't think Cena's heel turn was coming against Logan Paul.
It was not. Nakamura versus Damian Priest. I was under the assumption that LA Knight was not going to win the title back before WrestleMania, but they don't like Japanese wrestlers, specifically the male ones. So ask Kenta about that. But nevertheless, Nakamura did not get there. Priest was in a match, but it was with Drew McIntyre. Belair versus Jade. That didn't happen. I'm wrong. Penta and Ray versus Dominic and Chad Gable. Fuck, we almost got that. Sub Penta out for Phoenix. They have the same graphics, so it might as well be the same person. And you're all set. Tiffany versus Charlotte.
We got
WWE.
one.
Let's
We
fucking
got
go.
one.
Let's fucking go.
We got
One match. Both of us. One match, right? It was fucking that one. And I hated it. Great. And then the main event was Cody and CM Punk.
So let me get
Didn't
this
happen.
straight. Out of 28 effing matches, we
got one
only
right.
got one.
And it was me. That's all you know. We're wrong all the time, except for me once in a while. There you go. That's fucking A.
All right.
Can we end this fucking episode?
Our show's done. Thank you for tuning in. For
If you stayed this long, what the hell
this
is
show will
wrong
probably
with you?
upload Thursday night.
God, Facebook's not going to see it until next month.
No. You'll see this episode on Facebook in August. So
Still rendering.
for Pete, for Jake, for Jacob, for Kyle, I'm Double A signing off. Remember, again, follow us on social media at Side Hustle Podcast 216 on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and, of course, our sponsors, BA Sweeties, Mike from State Farm, Omega Video Marketing from Megan Gallagher. Got you all covered. And listen, stay close to professional wrestling because a lot of good stuff is coming up across the board. So we cannot wait to talk about that. And again, Kyle and I, we'll talk to you or see you this time next week.